So, this real quick, NCAA tournament, I know nobody's thinking about it right now. But can I just say, the ACC has the worst college basketball or maybe college sports proposal in the
First down run. Edler sheds another tackle, and he takes it in. 34-yard touchdown run for Treston Ebner.
Sikkim 365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it. That's the great thing about sports.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
I'm gonna make a new phone. I want y'all to buy it for me now. Help me out. I'm gonna put, don't press in. So when you tweet all that stuff out and you get ready, you look at yourself, oh, it says, don't press in.
Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
All right, here we go on this Thursday afternoon. Sikkim 365 Radio. Today we had some great news. You know, there was the broadcast center announcement a couple of weeks ago. I just saw a picture with Ashley Hodge behind the studio that we have that's going to launch at any moment. The Baylor game being, of course, canceled against Louisiana Tech. Tapped the brake a little bit. We're going to be ready. We're going to be all over that, and it will be sooner rather than later. We'll be at Mac Peoples Stadium tomorrow for a game with Connolly and Springtown. But today we lost one of our own, and I just saw on my Twitter feed Baylor University just tweeted out about Karen Gordon Armstrong. She is an amazing Baylor fan. There was a tweet that mentioned she had passed away. She sent me a direct message on August the 21st, which is about the time I think the broadcast studio was announced by Sikkim 365 Radio and Sikkim365.com. And in that message, it was just simple, kind of way she always was, kind, supportive, and just loves Baylor. She said, hey, congratulations on the news. I said, thank you for the congratulations. You're very welcome. I had no doubt in you guys and you would be successful. And that was August the 21st, that night on August the 21st, and here we are. She passed away. It was Butterfly. It was at FX_Butterfly on Twitter.
Yeah, I never met her in person. We had numerous chats over Twitter during Baylor games. She would just send a quick message like, hey, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? Or thank you for this or thank you for that. She was a very loyal listener. She was a very proud Baylor fan. She was really great to me, at least in the social media realm, which is the only way that I knew her. But it's very sad to see her go, and I'm going to miss not interacting with her on social media, on Twitter anymore.
Yeah, her last couple of tweets were retweets from about 3 days ago of you, Smokey, and then she had a bunch from me from about 3 days ago, stuff that Aranda had said, and don't know all the details or anything like that, but I had seen some people tweeting out the butterfly emoji and a bear emoji together, and I was like, what is going on? Like, I didn't understand it. I was getting ready to do the podcast with Grayson, and I just kept seeing that, and I was like, I don't get it. And finally, I went over to the premium forums of Sikkim365.com, and that's where someone had posted up that she had passed. And so, just somebody that you wish you would have had the opportunity to have met. And that's, I think, the overwhelming. There's actually two things that are probably the overwhelming responses I've seen today is just, one, what a great fan she was. She was so positive in a sea of negativity. She was always a positive, always promoting everybody who was promoting Baylor, always promoting, anything good. And she just had a kind heart like that. And just the number of people who have said, gosh, I wish I would have gotten the chance to meet her. And, some saying like, hey, we tried to get her out of tailgate and it couldn't happen and whatnot. But I think everybody's just feeling a sense of loss to the Baylor community and to Baylor fandom. And their timelines are going to be a lot less busy because she was always very active and it was great and she was passing along things. And so I think people are going to miss that. But, her spirit, whether she knew it or not, it definitely made an impact. And, a lot of people sad today. And I'll admit it right now. Like, I never got to meet Butterfly, but she retweeted me all the time and had a message here and there. And I was talking about it with Grayson on the end of the podcast. I wanted to give her a shout out and kind of got choked up because it's just like this year's been so hard. It's been, it just feels like we're losing people left and right for one reason or another. And, just this was so out of the blue. So it was amazing. I was more emotional just like, having not had the opportunity to meet her, but just to see the overwhelming amount of outpouring of people who she obviously impacted. So rest in peace to Karen, and definitely a great fan lost. Yeah,
it was. And the tweet came out, and you alerted me to it, and then I was able to kind of talk to a family member to get her name, and so she passed away. And the thread on Sikkim365.com, but also even on the Twitter feed about her, the kind of woman she was, supporter of Baylor that she was. She even one of them even said this. She was a great poster and member of this online community, always positive, never cutting or unkind. She would always she would be very pleased with everyone with whom she vehemently disagreed politically, paying their respects to her like this. It's almost like her final act on this site was bringing both sides together, even if for a hot second that was her way. Love conquers all. Fly, butterfly, fly. And I put up a tweet that she had sent to me in a direct message. Some people have responded to that, but it's amazing. Baylor University just put this out at FX_butterfly. Rest in peace, Karen. Baylor Twitter already misses you. Hashtag Baylor Twitter already misses you.
Oh, so, for sure. There's going to be a vacancy there. And one thing I could not emotionally handle when talking about her, because I started to get really choked up, like I mentioned, and Grayson thankfully let me just kind of have a couple moments, because it hit me weird because I was looking at the thread and there's like 75 replies to this thing already. And everybody's just like, gosh, I wish I would have met her. Gosh, she was so positive. Like, everything was so positive in this world that's just so ugly right now. And one thing I could not get out, and I had to wrap up the podcast episode, was her Twitter profile. And it just simply says, something as small as a flutter of a butterfly's wing can ultimately cause a typhoon halfway around the world. And that's from Chaos Theory. I just thought that was a beautiful message that was in her profile, and I just couldn't manage to get it out earlier, but I'm glad I did there.
Good job. Yeah. Thank you very much. A couple of notes, and again, we'll read some of the other responses about her on Twitter, but also on Sikkim365.com. I've been told that Baylor and a game next week it's not looking good. There was a list, including what Mac Rhodes confirmed right here on this show on Sikkim 365 Radio, that included Houston Baptist, East Carolina. As of, 5 or 8 minutes ago, it doesn't look good. It's not promising. It's kind of what I've been told about Baylor and a game next Saturday. And in fact, 3 or 4 hours ago, they were down to about 2 or 3 options, and I don't know if they have any options left. That doesn't mean that it's a dead issue, but it does mean that it probably is. You're talking. Max said yesterday he could go into early Saturday at the latest, for sure by tomorrow. It's Thursday. You never know what can pop, but it doesn't look promising. That doesn't mean it's a done deal that there's no game, but as of right now, it doesn't look promising.
Well, look, college football non-conference scheduling is probably the hardest thing that any athletic director has to deal with, and most of these games are scheduled years and years in advance. So having to do it in a couple of days has to be that much harder, given all the things that you have to get ready for and logistically do. So I can't imagine trying to figure it out in 3 days.
Yeah, I think for one, it would be perhaps somewhat difficult depending on who you would grab, like a Houston Baptist, like the protocols and the testing that needs to be done in a short amount of time to get ready for that. I don't know where, like, if Houston Baptist, for example, is just able to, like, have the tests available and get it done and have 4 tests before next Saturday. I don't know if they're capable of doing that. I don't know how many teams outside of the P5s are really capable of doing that. Obviously, whoever's playing right now is, but there's just a lot of things you have to cross off. It's not as simple as just calling somebody up and saying, hey, can you get here by next Saturday? We got a hotel room for you for Friday night. There's a little bit more to it than that, no matter where they're coming from. So it's not a surprise that they're struggling a little bit trying to find that opponent on such short notice. It's just really unfortunate that the La Tech situation happened with Hurricane Laura. And so, I guess we will see here in the next 24 to 48 hours. But like you're referencing there, not looking good right now.
Doesn't look positive at all. So that's an update on that. The NFL starts tonight. Texans and Chiefs in a rematch. 2 of the great young quarterbacks in the NFL, both of them coming off massive contracts. Patrick Mahomes and the Super Bowl champion Chiefs and Deshaun Watson and the Texans. It all starts tonight, and it kicks off tonight. And at 3:45 tonight, or this afternoon, Jennifer Smoke will have a fantasy football advice therapy.
So
she picked her team. By the way,
let me ask you this about Jennifer.
Oh, God.
So, I mean, you guys know her well, obviously. So
I don't know if we do.
Yeah, are we sure?
So last night we had a text conversation, and she asked me for advice, and then didn't take any of it.
You know why? Because Daniel's the go-to here. We're on the outskirts. I'm surprised that she wasted her time contacting you.
Yeah.
Well, thankfully for me last night, she reached out, and I just had to tell the group text, like, hey, I'm working on this Mac Roads recap. I can't be of any service, so I luckily ducked out, but I did get the summary.
Here's another thing. So I put it up on Twitter, and I had probably 70, 80% said Saquon Barkley. Now, Paul, I know you mentioned take Zeke. She took Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
The rest of the team will have to break it down. It seems like the first game she's playing against somebody's got 2 studs. In fact, Deshaun Watson, who plays tonight, and the running back who's really, really good, too.
Here's my thought about Saquon Barkley. I think he's going to have a fantastic year. But if you ask me who's going to have a better year and more touchdowns, it's because he plays for a better team.
Well, he plays for a much more explosive offense, and we don't know what Daniel Jones can do. Her quarterback, Carson Wentz, and he may not play 5 games. But we'll see.
My only thing was the Zeke versus Saquon is I just think Saquon is going to be relied upon a lot more than Zeke because the Cowboys do have so many dadgum weapons. Like, I think they're going to want to air it out a bit, and Tony Pollard's going to get some shine and here. But, I mean, Zeke's going to have monster games. I probably would have gone with him if I were in her position, but I don't think Saquon's a bad, runner-up prize. So she's good either way, I think.
It's not like she said, I'm not going to take either of them, and I'm going to take somebody further down the list because I like the way his hair looks or something like that.
It's not like she drafted Patrick Mahomes #1 overall again, like she did last year.
And that's always hard but she had the number 2 pick, and obviously Christian McCaffrey went first. She's going to come on at 3:45. We are booked today from 3:45 on, and it's Jennifer at 3:45 on fantasy football, Max Olson at 4 college football, Mickey at around 4:25 we hope on the Cowboys, who open up on Sunday night against the Rams, and then at 4:45 Britton Banowski, who's a part of the College Football Playoff Foundation on this initiative that they're doing when it comes to education. He'll join us then, and then get ready, Herm Edwards, who we've had on at the Super Bowls many, many times. He is as full throttle, hair on fire, stick your head in the gasoline, light it with a match guy as you're going to get. Been working on him now for about 3 months, thanks to Mark in SID at Arizona State for setting that up. It was a waiting list. And then, of course, their season got shut down. He said, we're going to try to get you him sometime in mid-September. He did. And so Herm Edwards today at 5. And 5:30, Sam Bradshaw. I don't know exactly what we're going to discuss because La Tech is gone. We don't know who's next other than Kansas, but we'll have him on today at 5:30.
Can we talk about what we might have seen?
Yeah, we can always do that. Hey, predict the future from Becky on, by the way, on Twitter. Thank you all for talking about my friend at FX_butterfly on the show. She was one of a kind. We are all heartbroken. Thanks to that, RGO 2524. Thank you for listening to us, by the way, as well on Sikkim 365 Radio. So this studio and where we are on the corner of MLK and Elm, we're not there today, but we're about to be there, is just gorgeous. What D1 did is phenomenal. Colt and Grayson were there yesterday. Paul, you were there today. I was there yesterday. I've been there 3 or 4 times. It's phenomenal. There's a lot of work going on. There's a lot of work going on within that studio, but it's almost ready to go.
Yeah. I had to do the thing today where, because I'm a man, and when there's men working in a place on handy, on projects, you have to pretend like you know what they're doing. That's what I had to do because there were a lot of people in there putting in the fire alarm and the air conditioning and the internet. The internet guys, I knew what they were doing. The air conditioning guys I just want to be, what is that, a 3/16?
Yeah.
That's I just want to do.
You find that at Pioneer Steel and Pipe, by the way. Also, the Cowboys injury picture, Mike McCarthy today saying that Amari Cooper, Chido Awuzie, and Xavier Woods, all of these guys are on schedule to play in full capacity this week.
Jordan Lewis is really the only guy I think that is not going to play because he didn't practice today and it's Thursday. I guess we'll see. That's going to be a fun matchup on Sunday night, I would think. And then a lot of weapons for the Rams, the Cowboys defense. I really don't know what we're going to see from a Mike Nolan defense game one. It's going to be different. Aldon Smith is going to apparently start. He hasn't played football in almost 5 years, so. No. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. So
you've got the NFL opens up. We had the news about Karen that a lot of you have responded to. Thank you very much. Also, high school football, week 3 starts tonight. There's some Thursday night games and, of course, full throttle through the weekend. And then Baylor, as I mentioned, right now, as of now, it looks it doesn't look optimistic that they're going to find somebody to play. It could change in the next 24 to 48 hours. If it does, you can hear it or see it or read about it and be a part of it on Sikkim 365.
I will say the one ray of light potentially, right now it looks negative as far as being able to find an opponent for a week from Saturday. But if there's a little bit of wiggle room, and mind you, it's very, very little wiggle room, but Mac did say he would like to have a decision by today. But if they had to, he could potentially push it to Friday. And if they really had to, maybe even some into Saturday. So there is some wiggle room, but not much.
I would think that if it dripped into Saturday, it would be just finalizing, that's dotting I's and crossing T's.
Yeah. All right. Also, former North Texas quarterbacks coach is now what Tate Wallace is. He resigned after allegations that he had a relationship with a high school student when he was at Argyle. He was arrested on September 3rd. Tate Wallace, who was part of the Baylor staff for quite some time, left after the 2016 season. The ACC had this plan to have an all-inclusive tournament. I get that we're changing a lot of the rules and the way things are. The NCAA says no. There are no plans for that.
No.
I know the ACC runs college basketball like the SEC runs college football, but or the Big Ten thought they did.
Yeah.
But the contingency plan, Dan Gavitt said no. There's a contingency plan. They're not even considering a contingency plan to expand the tournament is what he said.
No, I think they really need to focus on getting 68 or 64 teams into what's going to be a bubble this year. They're going to have to do that.
Speaking of which, go ahead.
Yeah, they're going to have to get them into a bubble and work that out. And I'm not so sure that, and Scott Drew mentioned to it a couple of weeks ago that some of these non-conference games, which they haven't announced dates for yet, might wind up looking like some sort of bubble tournament thing where the schools that are going to play at that time go to a city like Dallas or Chicago or somewhere out like that where there's a couple of venues they can play in, go and play over a couple weeks in a bubble.
And Major League Baseball's players and union, the baseball and union moving towards an agreement for the final 3 rounds of the postseason with the entire World Series being played at a neutral site and Globe Life Field in Arlington would stage the World Series as well as the National League Championship Series. This is 2 officials telling USA Today knowledge of the negotiations. Now, whether or not that's going to happen or not remains to be seen.
Well, Greg Abbott's already come out and said the World Series is coming to Texas.
All right, there you go.
I mean, it's not official, I guess, but it's pretty much official.
That's unbelievably good.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
What's the only way it would have been at Globe Life Field otherwise?
Yeah, it's not going to be there for any other reason. NBA, last night, Toronto knocked out they knocked out the Celtics. Is that right? No, what happened? No, the Bucks. It was the Bucks, right?
Yes, the Bucks are out.
So the Toronto, who's the defending champions, all of a sudden, look, hell, here we are. Now, here's also something with Rockets reserve Daniel House Jr. under investigation by the league for allegedly allowing a female COVID-19 testing official into his room. I'm not sure what's going to happen here.
Basically, the gist of this is that Daniel House brought in a female to the area where you're not supposed to bring females. That's the basic gist of it. That's what he's being accused of. He's denying it. They're saying no. They obviously believe it for a reason. I don't know all the particulars about what information they have and whatnot, but they're saying he violated the bubble protocol by bringing in a female. He's denying it, and so now there's a standoff. The Rockets are, I've seen some fans of like, anything to help the Lakers. Can't obviously beat the Lakers without Daniel House, and so who knows what's going to happen, but it looks like they could be without him, and if they are, that's a big blow for Houston. But, the Raptors tonight will be Game 7, Eastern Conference semifinals against the Boston Celtics. So Raptors and Celtics later on tonight.
That's tomorrow.
Or tomorrow, excuse me. Yep, I'm sorry about that. Tomorrow.
Tonight's the Lakers and
the
Rockets. Game 4, LA up 2-1.
Yeah.
So that,
But we've got those series all still going on, and one already wrapped up.
Yeah, it's Denver and LA. Clippers won again. They're up 3-1. They play tomorrow night. Celtics, Raptors will close it out in Game 7 tomorrow. It's not at Toronto. It's obviously in the bubble.
As they wait as Jimmy Butler and the Heat just sit there and wait.
Yeah,
and they've been a great
he's
story,
really been a hell of a player. I mean, that's a great. They haven't lost. Have they lost? Have they lost a game in the playoffs?
Yeah, they lost 1 to the Bucks.
Okay, all right. Now, also, Craig gave me this, that the NBA League office informed the Board of Governors that the 2020-21 season won't begin earlier than Christmas Day, as they finish out this year and hope that they continue to on pace, and then they give them a little bit of a, take a deep breath.
I'm going to make a prediction. I don't think it will start before Thanksgiving ever again, and I think that Christmas Day, like they might
becomes
have some,
opening weekend.
Becomes essentially opening weekend. Maybe if it's not Christmas Day, like the week before, they have some games just to fit in their time frame. But they've been wanting to change the schedule now for a couple of years because their television ratings aren't anything until Christmas Day.
I think it's going to happen with the pro seasons are going to change a little bit. I think you're going to see a little bit as well with what happens in college basketball, which they've been wanting to push that back out of college football as far as they could or can, and that might be something that you see as well. All right, so we have, again, thanks to the Willis Law Firm, the sponsor of the chat room. Would love for you, if you need legal help, contact the Willis Law Firm, and also the sponsor of the Sikkim365.com premium section chat room. Also, in fact, we just got a Tad Wad said, darn, looks like no game next week, and that's kind of what we've mentioned. That could change, but it doesn't, again, look promising. Also, the Riverbend Liquor and Wine text line. I just spoke to Steve Chapman about 15, 20 minutes ago. He's renewed, actually about 30 minutes ago, he's renewed his sponsorship of the text line. We appreciate him with that, Paul, the great beer and the wine and the liquor right there on 19th Street and Lakeshore Drive. All right, when we come back, 254-339-1122, the text line is available. Your thoughts, what is just your reaction about Baylor right now? It appears as if they will not have a game. Hopefully that changes at any time. But your reaction of just no game, like we just heard from Tadwad. And it is kind of, my God, things were going so smoothly, but it's going to be a year when there's going to be some bumps and the bruises along the way. 254-339-1122 is the number to call. Anything else, guys?
Nope.
This is Sikkim 365 Radio. 77 years strong. Pioneer Steel and Pipe. Customer service is their main focus. You can do that. You have to have it. And boy, do you know if you're a customer, if you're being treated well or not. And Pioneer Steel and Pipe has been in business now for nearly 8 decades through all of the different changes in the way the economy is, or the stock market is, or the way you have these big box stores that come into town and want to just steal away everybody else's business. And I say steal, you know what I mean, but just gobble everybody up. And yet, they're now closing out close to their 8th decade in business. And they're growing with great news coming around the horizon. They will help you with your project if you need something for metal buildings. Suggestions on design, providing you with a list of reliable contractors. And whatever you need when it comes to experience daily, day by day, trying to get your metal building up and ready, they're going to help you out with that. They also offer the fastest turnaround time in the business on metal building orders, the supplies. They'll help you with what is structurally sound bids. When someone bids, they're going to help look at it for you so that you have something that is structurally sound and not bid at a lower price, which, by the way, also might compromise the structural integrity. They offer metal buildings and components, metal roofing, pipe, steel, iron, you name it, they got it. It's heavy. They'll deliver it to wherever you are, whatever the site, construction site, wherever you need it. Even if it's in the front of you have some sort of nice big ranch or whatever and you're trying to work on a fence or an entryway, they will help. They'll bring it to you and unload it for you. Largest pipe inventory, many options on the buildings and nice fence entryway, as I mentioned. And if you need something and they don't have it, they will get it and get it to you. Any questions, you can call them at 754-2611 or visit them at pioneerboys.com.
Let's face it, some people just like driving around in the new. Hi, Jay here from Pickup Outfitters to talk about those truck owners that know they have naked trucks but simply don't care. You'll hear them saying something like, I'm just driving around free and easy, nothing constricting me. Gross. But there is something that can entice almost any naked truck owner. Leather. I mean, they kind of go together, right? And Pickup Outfitters is an authorized dealer and professional installer of cat skin leather seats. So I'm asking you to do your part and help us end truck nudity. The next time you're near your naked truck owner friend, you can say something like, you know what would really be sexy on your truck? Leather. And they'll get that sly smile, and you know you've hit them in their weak spot. Pickup Outfitters installs factory matching leather kits or custom kits in just about any color combination for your truck or even car. It's the sexy thing to do. You can be part of the problem, or you can create a commotion with cat skin leather seats at Pickup Outfitters. 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
What season is it? It's truck season at Allen Samuels. Ram trucks are raring to go, ready to work and play, and all feature the best deals of the year during Ram Power Days. Come get your brand new Ram Lone Star at Allen Samuels with 0% for 72 and no payments for 90 days. Or choose up to $9,250 in bonus cash and incentives. Ram, the highest pickup owner loyalty in America. Shop, apply, buy online. We deliver. Ram Power Days at Allen Samuels.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi, great priced chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco, house-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine, best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
It takes takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
The Sikkim 365 Radio app is sponsored by Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
So tonight the NFL starts. Tonight, Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes, they're not the first time two young star quarterbacks have ever gone against each other early. One of them coming off a Super Bowl. Both of them coming off massive contract extensions. Both of them. And the Texans, didn't they give the Chiefs hell? Didn't they blow a lead?
Yeah. There's Chiefs, or excuse me, Texans fans that'll be rooting for revenge, even though this game means far less than that one did last year.
Sorry, guys, what? Sorry, I was zoned out for a second. What'd you say?
I mentioned last year the Texans had the Chiefs by the short and curlies, didn't they? I mean, they were in trouble.
They should have had them dead to rights.
Yeah. And then here comes, as John McClain said, somebody looked at him and said, have you ever seen such a thing? And, of course, he covered the Bills, the flea flicker, right?
Yeah.
The lateral, or whatever it was.
Well, no, that
John
was
likes
just
to troll a little bit on Twitter.
That was just the Bills.
The Frank Reich game.
Yeah,
that's
Frank Reich
that's
game.
right. I'm sorry. That's right. That was a was that the Titans?
No, that was
the Oilers.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's like I'm looking forward to it. Now, I'm not one that sits down on Sunday and never leaves watching. I have the games on in the background. I'll have a couple of televisions going on, flat screens, whatever. I'll keep up with a little bit, maybe on a app or whatever, but I look forward to tonight. I think it's got, to me, hey, it's not always easy when you're the Super Bowl champion to open up, and usually that's the team that opens up. So it's been the Patriots like 19 of the last 20 years, it seemed like.
Yeah. At least it's not Cowboys-Giants again.
Oh, my God. Well, yeah, and even on Sunday, thank God it's something different.
Do you think that maybe that's part of the reason that Jerry spearheaded the Rams so much, just so he could get a different opponent on opening?
I don't know, but I thought that became so lame after a while. Like, just the same team every year to start the season. And, I mean, I get it. It's a rivalry and all of that, but it's like once you've seen it 3 times, like, do I want to see it a 4th time in a row? No, not really.
Why can't to me, especially as somebody having to go and cover it at the thing, like, can I not get, like, Cowboys? Like, I don't even care if it's Cowboys-Browns.
It's not about
like,
even
just
traditions or rivalry. Yeah. It's about New York and Dallas
It's all about TV, but I also don't like you playing a division opponent in week number 1 and then being done with the team that you're supposed to play twice by, like, the middle of the season. Well, if the Giants are good in the second half of the season, you don't have to I hate the way that's spread out.
Or not playing a division rival until maybe late November sometimes when they double them up in 5 weeks.
And I think that's what happens when you do that, like those big rivalry games in week 1. You're going to have what Craig says, where they play the Giants the second time on October 7th. And so, in the first month, they've played the Giants twice. And then they have the Eagles twice and the Redskins twice, down the line, because they'll maybe sometimes they'll stash the Redskins on Thanksgiving because they want that game there,
and those will be like 2 of their last 5 or against the same team.
Yeah. So then to me it just, I don't know, and I know that scheduling's hard. But even still, like. But
hey, man, a mom and pop out of their house did the 162 game baseball schedule for like decades, right?
Yeah.
So it's doable, and the NFL could probably have changed that up a little bit. But, hey, it's not the Giants this year, so that's the good news. It is the Rams. It's a big-time game. They've got a big-time stadium, and they've got some big-time players. So this should be a good one. The expectations for the Cowboys are very high. I've seen a lot of the talking heads, the fellow talking heads out there who have been putting in their Super Bowl predictions, and there's quite a few people who are selecting the Cowboys to go play in the Super Bowl this year. So that is the expectation, I think, for many. And, I mean, you better – I think have the expectation, no matter who you are, if you're any kind of a fan, you better have the expectation that they're at least getting close and knocking on the door of that thing.
Here's the thing about Dallas in the NFL. It's not that they're always overrated, but about every other year they're overrated. If they come off a nice year, then they're the Super Bowl champion pick. And if they don't, then
they're Texas.
They're the University of Texas of the NFL. They have an incredible tradition. But it's been forever. Now, UT played for a national title in 2009. Let's not forget that. They did. And again, a Colt McCoy injury might have cost them that. They played for it and won it in 2005, beating what was supposed to be the greatest team in the history of sports. But there's more disappointment lately in the last 20-plus years than anything else.
Yes.
It's like you see them, you fall in love with the logo or the tradition. You fall in love with Darryl Royal or Mac Brown or whoever it is, Vince Young. And if they do win, good. They should. They're a standard as far as what they have when it comes to money and facilities and all that and talent. But it's so simple to just pick the Cowboys. It's almost lazy, like picking second this year, Texas in the Big 12 or Sam Ehlinger. Not saying he doesn't deserve it or earn it. It's just over. It's the Cowboys and Texas. They're both in the same state.
Well, I think you kind of here's the thing. You're right. It's all about just eyeballs. So that's why New York and Dallas was the opening game of the year for what felt like 10 years in a row. It's just because simply it's eyeballs. And I agree with you that, for example, UT is typically overrated every single year. There's a year in, 5 that they're not, like a couple years back when they went and won the Sugar Bowl. But, pretty much every year they are a tad bit overrated to start based off a logo. Same thing with the Cowboys. I will disagree on this year, though. The Cowboys are being picked because the Cowboys are absolutely freaking loaded pretty much everywhere other than, their secondary. And everywhere else, they've addressed concerns. So
they have had a very, very, very good offseason.
So,
I'm concerned about the offensive line's possibility issues as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be some things that crop up that we're not maybe expecting, or perhaps an injury. I mean, that's always something that every team has to go in not thinking about, because you can't think about that, but realizing that could be a derailing thing to your season. But all things considered and all health considered, the Cowboys are being pumped up because the Cowboys should be pumped up, and they do have expectations that are quite lofty, but they should have expectations that are quite lofty with what their roster looks like right now. So, yeah, in years past, it's just been that star, but this year I think it's the team.
Yeah, they're good. I mean, and I'm always with them, and I'm not, I'm a lifelong Washington fan. They haven't been relevant even longer. But I almost always overrate them myself because I guess growing up seeing how good they were when I was that age of watching Landry and the Cowboys every year, like 17 years out of 18 or whatever it was. So I've always kind of done that myself. So I'm not saying I'm guilty too.
Yeah, and I got to the point, though, especially under Jason Garrett, where we'd go to training camp and I'd come back and people were like, how do they look? I'm like, well, I know that they could beat the Cowboys. That's all I know that they can do because that's all I've seen them play.
Beat the Redskins.
No,
no,
the Cowboys.
Yeah.
They can beat the Cowboys. Could beat the Cowboys.
Yeah,
I watched them beat themselves all the time. So, but I don't know. And this is, and I think with Mike McCarthy, there's a little bit of there's going to be some energy there. Are they Super Bowl good in year one? I don't know, but they need to be at least better than they were in year one. Or what are they even doing? What does all this mean?
They need to be better than they've been since their last Super Bowl run.
Yeah.
I mean, they've constantly gone into the playoffs now. When they have made the playoffs, there's certainly been quite a few years when they haven't even done that. The really terrible years have been few and far between, but the average to above average years have been pretty consistent. But above average has been non-existent.
They had what you're talking about, Dallas, right?
Yes.
2007, 2009, and then the team
Dak's 2016 team.
Yeah, the year when they had the home field advantage and blew it to the Giants, who beat the Patriots.
Yeah,
you had the Dez not catch whatever. Yeah. That was a team that what year was that? 14.
14.
Whatever
yeah.
it was, I don't know. Yeah. But you're right. Most of the time, it's not like they've been 5-11 like they were 3 years in a row under Campo. They have, for the most part, been really right there on the edge.
No, they don't have the human decency to be really crappy or really great.
Well, let me tell you something. I would rather flip the last 20-some years records with my favorite team than that. Even though that's a tease, I would rather do that because sometimes somebody else is done before they even get to October. But, yeah, they're always – and Jerry, it's been a great offseason for them. The Aldon Smith and what else they did, even though they lose McCoy, they stacked this up. They get Gregory back again, although who knows what's going to happen once he can play. If he can get to that point, we wish him the best. You know what could happen, though? You could lose Zeke on the third play of the season, even though you still have weapons, or Dak, who doesn't miss games, could have what is the norm of a quarterback. I mean, quarterbacks get hurt. They could also just be not very good in protecting him, no matter the weapons, because Tyron Smith's another year older. Zach Martin was good, all-pro good last year, but,
here's the
Frederick's
thing.
gone. Lyle Collins can't play for a month.
For a team that gets as much press as they do, they've won 4 playoff games since their last Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They've won 4 playoff games. They have not gone past the divisional round
In a long time.
since the Super Bowl.
It was one, but
that would be
none.
That would be an okay stat for playoff wins if you're talking about 2 years since their last Super Bowl and just couldn't get it done.
Yeah.
You're talking about
Remember, it was a
25 years.
It wasn't like 18 or 19 years they had maybe one.
Yeah.
Guys,
Like-
we're talking about
I
25
know.
years.
And you're talking Cowboys. It's like
I wasn't driving.
it was like the Celtics without a playoff series win or something like that, or the Canadians back in the day. Or it's just a drought. It's a 25-year drought.
So the point is that
This is their 60th year, so something will happen.
There's no excuses this year. I mean, this is not a team that needs to be falling in the wild card round. This is definitely not a team that doesn't make the postseason. This should be a team that's in the divisional round at the very bottom level and, hopefully gets past that point and breaks that 25-year drought since they were last past the divisional round. But they've at least got to get to the divisional and more to – I mean, obviously more, but that to me is like the ground level, is getting to the divisional round of the playoffs.
By the way, this was a note I saw in my email inbox as high school football hits week 3, and there are some games. There's a handful of games in East Texas that are out, like Cooper, Detroit, and a couple of others. Carthage continues to look for another opponent for yet another week. There's a few of those games, just like there was Franklin and was it Hearn? No, Franklin and who was it last week where their game was knocked out? Franklin, by the way, I spoke with their head coach, Mark Fannin, today. We'll have that tomorrow. They are back in action as they play against Yo tomorrow on the road in Cameron. There's still a handful of games that are just kind of there.
Yeah, but
Medical Advisory Committee is going to meet sometime this weekend. I believe it might be Sunday. The UIL Medical Advisory Committee. That'll be interesting to kind of watch what happens there.
I was saying, but you commented on a handful of games. Yeah, but out of how many games?
No.
And that's and I know you're not saying anything. My point is for the just the people out there listening is there's like a handful of games that have been canceled across the state of Texas.
But there's two huge divisions that aren't playing. So I mean, there's still hundreds of games.
Sure. But I mean, given the feeling going into this thing, you would have thought that a handful of games would be played every week, not canceled every week. And yet the majority have been marching on. The bigger schools have had more than enough time to get their ducks in a row now, and they still have some more time remaining. So, it remains to be seen when the bigger schools do come back, because you also are then dealing with bigger crowds and bigger things like that. But so far, I think it's been pretty good stuff from high school football.
I agree. And you're going to have teams when you get to the playoffs that might be 4-1 playing somebody that's 9 or 10-0. It's 3:42. When we come back, fantasy football analyst Jennifer Smoke. At 4 o'clock, Max Olson, Mickey Spagnola, 4:30. At 4:45, we'll hear from Britton Banowski of the College Football Playoff Championship Foundation. Herm Edwards, Full Throttle, today at 5, and also Sam Bradshaw today at 5:30. Craig Smoke, Paul Catalina, I'm David Smoke, and this is Sikkim 365 Radio. Never quit. If you stumble, get back up. What happened yesterday no longer matters. Today's another day. Get back on track and move closer to your dreams and goals. You can do it. That was one of the newsletters Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness let out a couple of months ago. It's, I think, an August newsletter, and I kept that because that's every single day. Today, no matter what you may have done, have you felt good about the fact you were active? Did you exercise? Do you have something planned for later today? They are open 5 a.m. until late into the evening. Weekends open 7 a.m. and through the rest of the day, closed a little bit earlier on Saturday and Sunday. But there's always something there, whether you want to do it by yourself or you want to do it in a group exercise class. This morning during a spin class at 8:30, it was Stephanie Boone, a spin class that was packed. It was exciting. It was energetic, and everybody walked out of there soaking wet with sweat and also feeling better because it was over. Some walk through the door and do their own exercises, do their own weights, their own cardio, run on the treadmill, whatever it might be. And you could also have a personal trainer, Christy London or Randall Corley, and they can help continue to motivate you when you feel like you just need to give up. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness has a world-class tennis facility with pros Britt Coleman and Joe Rosa for youth and adult leagues and lessons as well. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness. It's cooler outside, but you got to still continue to be committed because you don't want to get to that point where it's really cold outside and you start to pack on food for the holidays, which is right around the corner on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like our free First mobile app, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. That's the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Bird Culchin Ford has been in Waco since 1936. Ford, the #1 selling truck in Texas, 43 years running. And Bird Culchin Ford proudly supports high school football in Central Texas. And no better way to tailgate with a Ford than from Bird Culchin Ford, our sponsor of the Ford Tough Player of the Week. Locally owned dealership, online at bkford.com at 1701 West Loop 340 in Waco. The annual tent sale's going on right now.
Don Humidor, you're home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwest Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
This is Sikkim 365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The Sikkim 365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
All right, here we go. This 3 o'clock hour. One more segment left at 4. Max Olson, then Mickey Spagnola, Herm Edwards today at 5, and much more. Pick 'em at 5:45 today, and Sam Bradshaw 5:30. NFL starts tonight. Best player in the league, Patrick Mahomes. Deshaun Watson's in that mix as well. And Jennifer Smoke, a fantasy football analyst, joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. Paul Catalina, Craig Smoke, who was in the middle of something last night when the draft was going on. He was kind of busy. I tried to help, but I'm fantasy football stupid. Jennifer, how did the draft go? We have about 12 minutes here, And we got to do that with you because you can talk.
No, we have a little less than 12 because we got to take a break.
All right. Well, then we should just go ahead.
Yeah.
It's my first day on the show, and y'all are already limiting my time here, but that's okay. Okay, what does?
Do you like your team?
Yes, I do. I do like my team this year. I feel pretty confident about it. Do you want me to tell you who all is on my team?
No, I don't want all of them. Just who are the top 5 core people on your team? Or it's somewhere in that neighborhood of number.
Okay, so I've got Saquon Barkley, Kenny Galladay, Cooper Kupp, Zach Ertz. I mean, that's probably my top. Dad, I'm just going to say them all. Hilton, Justin Tucker, Colt Stephens, and Carson Wentz as my quarterback. And Josh Jacobs.
All right, what was the toughest decision you had to make?
Well, my first tough decision was I was picked number 2 this year. So obviously that left me with if I wanted to go with Saquon or Zeke. And as you know, and as Paul know, and Craig, I was obviously trying to get y'all's input on that, which Paul was adamant about me taking Zeke. And I know Zeke's going to have a good year this year, but I just didn't feel right passing up Saquon.
Yeah, I kind of have them rated similarly. And so usually when I do that, I just go with the guy who's on the better team. That's what I do. So, but I mean, I don't think you're wrong to go with Saquon Barkley. I mean, it is what it is. You know, you'll see when Zeke has a better year, and I can be right.
Jennifer, were there any cat fights? This is 10 girls. Some of you have known each other since you were in diapers. Some of you are don't like each other. What was the biggest? Was there an argument? Okay.
We all like each other. No, there were no arguments. I mean, there were a few times the girl would text whenever somebody would take somebody right before them and be like, no, I wanted him. But no arguments. I think the only arguments that happen with our league is the girls that truly do this on their own and don't have help from their boyfriends or their husbands. They get a little bit mad when they can tell that somebody's getting help from somebody. So that would probably be the only thing. But even then, it's like if some of these girls, you know, didn't have help from their guys, the draft probably wouldn't go as smoothly. So it's.
Do your friends realize you have like a 12-person analyst team helping you out with your fantasy team?
Well, they will now after they hear this, but it's okay to get some input. You know, it's like it's a tough decision. I'd have to say one of the picks that I was a little. I mean, I don't have a problem with Wentz, but I obviously would have been more excited about a different quarterback. I was really hoping. I didn't, obviously, after my year last year, I didn't want to jump on a quarterback so quickly this year and have that quarterback waste the spot of another good running back or wide receiver. But the round that I was going to probably go for Wilson, of course, someone a few picks before me took him. So at that point, I felt like I needed to take Wentz in order to solidify a good quarterback spot. But I don't know. I'm not super excited about him, but I do think he'll be a good, you know, hopefully he'll be good this year and stay healthy.
Yeah, he's got to stay healthy.
Yeah.
That's true. But you, so a woman, another girl, took Russell Wilson. Did they take him because he's good? Because he's married to, what's her name? Sierra?
Yeah.
Or
Stop.
because he's pro, you know, which one? What's the reason?
I mean, I would assume because he's a great quarterback to have on your fantasy team. He was the third quarterback to go. It was Mahomes, then Jackson, and then Wilson went.
Was Dak fourth?
Yeah, actually, Dak might have been before Wilson. But yes, he was up there. I think actually Dak did go before I went. So he was in the top 4 that went.
Had Dak been available, would you have taken him instead of Wentz?
No.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
I mean, well, I don't know. I don't know about that. I'm just kind of tired of him crying about his contract. So I just want. I just went with Wentz.
I don't think he said a word about it. So who has the best team in your league? Just if you had to assess it right now.
The girl that was number 1, Macy, she got Mahomes and McCaffrey. So I mean. Gosh, I mean, that right there can get you 100 points on a good day. So that I do feel like, honestly, I looked at every team last night and I was looking at everybody, and I feel like we went from 8 teams last year to 10 teams this year, and I think that helped even things out a little bit more. So I don't know. I feel like everyone has some strong people on their team. I don't know if I can really determine yet who has the best team. I mean, I might just say myself, but I don't know. No,
you might want to
kidding.
watch
I
the
don't
injury
know.
wire because Kenny Galladay didn't practice today, by the way.
Oh, my God. Not already.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you. Yes. No, I know. The hamstring, his hamstring.
Yeah,
so
he's on 2 of my teams. So.
Well, I know, and he was my first wide receiver to pick up. That's great. But I do need to make a decision, though, because I've got Galladay, Cup, and Hilton in my flex position, and I have Will Fuller on my bench. So do y'all think that I need to decide about putting Will in over somebody else or like over Hilton, or even if y'all think Galladay will be okay by Sunday, or does it look like it's
I've already taken him out of my lineup, and you can set alerts to make sure you set your lineup on the app. So that's what I do.
Oh,
so I get a little ding and it says,
that's
hey.
why I got out of it right there. That's the reason is having to make those
24/7.
decisions. It's constant. It's just like constant. Just never know who's going to play and you got to deal with that. And that was too much for me.
Yeah, I might go ahead and flop him out for this week just to be precautionary. But, I mean, you got like 3 more days, so it's no real rush.
What you need to do is put it up for a vote for the 33 people that are on your committee that help you pick the team.
Stop. Well, the rush is that Will plays tonight.
Oh yeah,
so
that's right.
That's the only rush. So,
Oh.
but I've got Sterling Shepard on the bench, and I've also, I guess those are my only. And Justin Jefferson, but that was the last pick of the draft for Minnesota.
Yeah.
I don't even know much about him, to be honest. But so yeah, I mean. We'll see. What do y'all think about my running backs this year, though? Because last year, that's where I struggled.
Way better.
Way better, yeah.
And Jacobs he's a banger, right? He's a kid from Alabama, so you know he might give you some short yardage touchdowns as well. And
he can be a little anything. I mean, he'll get you. I think he actually, and Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, but he probably should have had more touchdowns last year than he ended up having.
Yeah.
So he's not really like we're on the goal line, let's feed it to Josh Jacobs type. That's not really his deal. You're not going to pick up, I don't think, too many easy touchdowns. I don't know, though. That's just based on kind of like a little bit that
that's just kind of Gruden's deal, so we'll see. But I think he'll be better this year.
No, I think he's going to be plenty good. I just don't know how many scores he'll have, but he'll be plenty good.
I also think he owes the Smoke family, considering that his agent Super Bowl tickets were saved by Craig.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly right. Considering I saved his agent's Super Bowl tickets, he better have a big year.
He had a really, really good year. 1150, 7 touchdowns. He didn't catch the ball a lot, although 20 catches.
That's all I'm saying is he just didn't have a lot of touchdowns. But I mean, he very well may have that this year. But shoot, he's going to put up points. Like your running backs are way better than last year's. Point being,
Wentz is one of those that could be a phenomenal pick. And then again, the problem, of course, is his history. So you're going up against. Go ahead.
What I realized last year was, though, is I went with my first pick of the draft. I went with Mahomes, and I was so set on that. And then after I watched the first week of games last year, after wasting a first round pick on somebody, on a quarterback, which not that it was wasted on Mahomes, but he did get hurt, so that did screw me over, but. I realized that a lot of these quarterbacks can give you points on any given Sunday. So it's like that wasn't important to me. My strategy this year was to focus on getting some running backs, which I'm still a little weak on, but overall I feel like this year my team is way more consistent. And I have Phillip Lindsay on the bench, James White, and Marlon Mack, which I know that Indianapolis got drafted that other guy, and I think there was word that maybe Marlon would end up being a backup, but I saw a story today that, it's really just they got that guy to almost push Marlon to even be better. So who knows? He could be a surprise on my bench, but, we'll just see. Like I told Daniel last night, we can talk about how great someone was last year, but we all know that, this year could be completely different. Someone that was a big person last year, like Godwin or someone like that, they might not do as much this year. So I have faith in my team. I feel like this is a good start. And Dad, as you were saying, I'm playing Kara this week, and she's got a pretty solid team too. She's probably got one of the best teams just looking over it.
Yeah, and that's not good because you don't like her. And here's the thing,
Dad, that is not true.
That's Tear Bear. I know you. She has like 9 kids now too.
Tara, Dad.
She's
Dad,
got
Tara.
9 children. She's too busy raising babies. What?
Dad, wrong person.
Oh, Kara.
I said
okay,
Tara
of
with
the
a K.
of the 9 girls you're going to play, a lot of them are your friends, but I know it's anger on throughout the week. Who is the one if you lose to you want to scratch your eyes out? Brittany?
Oh, she's not playing this year.
Okay, that's good. Okay. Then who's next?
Tell her I said hi.
I'm not answering that. I feel like this is a trick question. Greg, shut up.
All right. We don't know when we're going to have you on again. You know the rules.
Are we not going to launch the Fantasy Football Hour with Jennifer Smoke on Sikkim 365 Radio?
Yeah, we're going to have to do that.
Exactly.
All
Dad,
right.
please. Why don't we take a vote with y'all's fans, and then that can be the deciding factor.
All right, we will put it up for a
listeners.
vote. I'm going to put it up on Twitter. Does she come back for another week or not? Your win-loss record, I'll give you a mulligan or two early because of COVID. But at the same time, if you drop below 2 or 3 games under 500, we're done. We're done. All right, but that's when you actually. All right, go figure out your wide receivers. The Galladay thing is bad. I didn't know that. No, I'm not saying it's because they're bad. I'm just saying because the injury to Galladay, it's a bad deal. Thank you, Jennifer. She'll join us on Thursdays around 3:45. God bless us. It's 3:59. Max Olson next on Sikkim 365 Radio.
Board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at TexasTrialLawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
If you or a loved one or friend has been arrested and you can't afford bail, trust Terry and Chase Chapman at Chapman's Bail Bonds, covering Waco and McLennan County for over 25 years. Chapman's can bail you out anywhere with experienced, knowledgeable local agents who are committed to serving you professionally, respectfully, and with the highest integrity. Chapman's understands your privacy is important. Your freedom can be secured fast when you use Chapman's Bail Bonds. Open 24 hours a day. Payment arrangements available. Call Chapman's Bail Bonds. When you need help, 254-754-1603. When you ring, we'll spring.
How can we help you? That's a question we ask every day at American Bank. Hi, I'm President and CEO Dana Hassel. Our commitment to our customers is what drives us. It's why we've invested in new branch buildings and technology like ITMs that let you speak to a teller face-to-face from your car. It's why we work with local businesses, helping Waco grow and thrive. And it's why decisions about your accounts and loans are made here in Waco by people who know you. How can we help you? Find out at American Bank, member FDIC.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
Pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com. How often have you said it's time to get in shape? Every day, every week, every month, maybe for as long as you can remember? How about starting today? I promise if you'll just join Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness now, you'll thank me later. Hi, this is David Smoke, offering a variety of 40 group exercise classes every single week, including boot camp on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5:15, plus spin, body shaping, Pilates, yoga, and bar. And oh, there's a free kids club as well. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness open Monday through Thursday, 5 to 10, Friday, 5 to 8, Saturday and Sunday, 7 to 7, and personal trainers, Christy London and Randall Corley. World-class tennis facility with pros Britt Coleman and Joe Rosa with lessons, camps, and special events. Spacious and clean workout rooms, locker room for men and women, both with a whirlpool and sauna, and now there's touchless bottle filling stations. No intimidation, tremendous camaraderie, an entirely new atmosphere, and yes, you can do this, but you have to walk through the front door. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
Waco's newest gym, Halo Athletic Center, 5725 Bagby Avenue, right behind Region 12 and across the highway from the Central Texas Marketplace, where motivation, inspiration, and hard work are the driving force. State-of-the-art equipment, indoor and outdoor track, locker rooms, showers, yoga and bar classes by Duality Yoga, Bod Pod potty composition analysis, and registered dietitians, all under one roof, where we rise above. Come join the Halo Athletic Center and be a part of the change. Your change.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with Max Olson of The Athletic. Brought to you by Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where customer service is their main focus. And best in metal, steel, and pipe for large or small projects, with 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Family owned and operated since 1943.
Love it. Left side. Love it. Down to the 20.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
By the way, Ricky Sargent from Hearn, if you're a high school football, anything involved in that, they're looking for a game. They had their game last week with Franklin canceled because of COVID. This week, New Waverly because of COVID that those schools had. Next week, game with Snook canceled because that district changed their schedule. So, again, if you're interested, contact me on Twitter. I'm about to tweet it out to help a young man in his program at Hearn High School. Max Olson joins us now on Sikkim 365 Radio. Well, Max, we were kind of in that full throttle game week mode. We were going to have Skip Holtz on the show yesterday, had Law Tech analyst on ready to go, and then obviously a change because of a hurricane. There's been enough that people have had to deal with, and now a hurricane, which could have been this week, changes everything with Law Tech. Your thoughts about where we are today with college football?
Yeah, it was kind of wild the other night, wasn't it? Where that pops up and, you're just, the word gets out and you're trying to figure out what happened. And, Fox within an hour already has a new matchup lined up for 11 a.m. and all that. This is unfortunately, this is unfortunately the new normal. And I think hopefully this isn't the case every week where we're just sitting around even up to Friday wondering if the game's going to be played. But I mean, in that case, certainly the right move for Louisiana Tech. You feel awful for what their players and their program have gone through, and certainly you feel terrible for Baylor players who have done everything asked of them and worked really, really hard to and I'm sure looked at this opening game with a lot of hope and optimism here. It's just a bummer for everybody. I mean, I'm glad they didn't wait until Friday night to figure it out, but I'm sure for all involved, it's just a really disappointing experience.
It's one of those things that here's 2020 and we learn things like, okay, well, when there's a natural disaster, well, now we have to think about how you're going to, prepare and endure COVID-19 for that, as if it's not already bad enough.
Hey, I'm sorry, you cut out a little on my end there. Say that again?
Yeah, I mean, 2020, we have a natural disaster, and we have to factor that into how the back end of COVID-19 works out, as if they're not bad enough.
Yeah, and certainly with the way these things go, as you guys have reported on quite a bit this week, it's just hard to say, okay, who's next? Let's find a new game and a new opponent and all that, and let's just try and make this up. And as we've seen with some of these postponements already with non-conference play, it's like, well, when are you supposed to go make that up? Are you supposed to go try and carve out a day in December to play a game like that? I really don't know. So it's probably a good foreshadowing what we're going through this week, where by the end of it, we could have some Big 12 teams that played 9 or 10 games and some that played 6 or 7. We really don't know.
Max, for any programs who we haven't seen play yet, which is, the majority still, but for anybody out there who is maybe not popping pads a whole lot in practice, do you think after the Navy-BYU game everybody's kind of ramped up the physicality this week?
Yeah, no doubt about that. And you feel really bad for Ken Niumatalolo and his staff. I mean, he's been very straightforward on this about just how sorry he is that he thought he was sort of taking the right approach in preseason camp and trying to do what you think is the best thing for your team and your players, and then you go play an opening game on the big Monday Night Spotlight and just get throttled. I think it's hard for all of these coaches. I've heard from other coaches who said, yeah, we really didn't do a whole lot of hitting and tackling for the first 12, 14 days of practice or whatever, and I kind of get that. You're trying to be as cautious as you can and as safe as you can with your players and build them up to the point where they're playing, good football at the start of September here. But there's still just a ton of trial and error to this because there's nothing normal about the preseason camp that they went through, and it's all from player to player. Like Oklahoma's had a guy who has missed almost like a month of camp because of having to isolate, or quarantine. There's just, for some players, it's just going to be really hard to feel like you're ready for this first game.
Yeah, did you see Ryan Day? And the Big Ten's a mess. They are. You talk about, the Big 12 used to be splintered because you had arrogance in some places and some that were just basically told to shut up and stay where they are. And they've kind of become a very, at least it appears to be somewhat all on the same page conference, which is great. But the Big Ten is splintered across the board, and I don't know, what do you think's going to happen here with them?
If I told you I had a good idea of what's going to happen, I'd be lying to you. I think what we've clearly seen is there are a couple very vocal coaches here, and it's definitely Ryan Day, it's definitely Scott Frost, it's definitely James Franklin now, and Jim Harbaugh, who are just irate at the way this has been handled from start to finish by Kevin Warren and the conference and the presidents. And so these guys are fighting like hell to try and get this season started as soon as possible. And, do they have enough support behind them? Can they, I don't think it's every Big Ten team that would play in their vision of how this plays out. I think it's the ones that want to get going. And, is that actually feasible? Can you actually get enough presidents to overturn their own decision? It's hard to separate with all this stuff. And there's so much crap out there on Twitter that looks legitimate and isn't. So it's very hard to separate what's possible from what's kind of wishful thinking by these coaches in the Big Ten. So I really don't know. I think the next week is going to be critical. And certainly Kevin Warren has, what really is starting to look like a true mutiny on his hands here.
One of the things he did write in that letter was that we can start in the fall and these guys can play for a national championship. My question for that would be, would he be expecting everyone else to wait for them after they've played for them to catch up and maybe do that later?
Yeah, I don't buy why anybody would be inclined to do that. As I said before, I mean, it was the Big Ten who decided that the Big Ten can't play. So as much as it would be nice for all of us to see a normal looking season with, as many leagues as possible playing and, having potentially Ohio State or the Big Ten champ in the playoffs, as great as that would be, I don't see why the 3 Power 5 leagues that are still going have any obligation to change course on anything they're doing to try and accommodate, the straight up mess that's going on in the Big Ten right now. I think that, I'm sure part of this was Kevin Warren probably thought that when the Big Ten called it off, that the rest of the Power 5 would follow, and that just wasn't the case, and it's backfired in pretty astounding fashion on them.
Max, I know that the opening weekend of games, I guess making this opening weekend is not what it typically would be. I mean, there's still some pretty good contests, I guess. There are a couple out there that will be of interest: Georgia Tech, Florida State, Duke, Notre Dame, maybe. But is there any team or player, perhaps in particular, on this opening weekend that you're looking forward to seeing?
Tonight I'm pretty fired up to see what Derek King looks like.
Okay,
I really do. I think he's sort of, ever since he took the red shirt last year and shut it down after 4 games. It's been quite a while since we've seen Derek King play his best football. And so, which is, all the way back in 2018. So I'm really curious to see, where Miami's at. I like Rhett Lashley. I think he did a really great job at SMU, and I think he could pair well with Derek King. And this first game against UAB, which is a really good program over the past couple of years here, I think it's a great matchup. And I'm just, now that we've lost all these teams, there is sort of a dearth of sort of preseason Heisman candidates. So I'm curious to see if Derek King can get back to playing at that level. Can he be kind of the improved passer that you wanted to see him become after he shut it down last year? I think that's a pretty exciting one for us to get started here.
Max, in the end, for example, there's the Heisman Trophy. There's a national championship. And we know that when the season begins, there's 100 and something teams in Power 5, whatever, among the other group of 5s. But there's probably 12 to 15 schools that actually have a chance to win it all. What's going to happen if the season plays out to the end of December and whatever the bowl games are, or maybe a college football playoff, which Hancock will decide in his committee, and then all of a sudden there's an overlap of games that are played into February and March? What do they do?
I think, first of all, if we make it to December with this season, we should be celebrating every day of December and not worrying about what the hell happens in the spring.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
It would be, it's not miraculous because there's a plan here and all that, but just given all the obstacles, if we can make it that far, I think we all just have to wrap our heads around it's just going to be a different looking postseason entirely. And there's not really, I think all the asterisk talk, honestly, I think it's kind of stupid, and I get why, Big Ten and Ohio State fans sort of feel that way. But if you make it all the way through this, and the 4 best teams at the end of this, they went through way more than the 4 best teams last year. So I think you got to respect that.
That's what I think about baseball. Even though it's a 60-game season, look, if you weathered all this stuff and made it all the way to the World Series and won it, to me, it does not matter that you only played 60 regular season games.
We've had lockout seasons in the NBA. It's like we've never done this before,
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. Yeah, that's just crazy. You're right. I don't need to be thinking about December. I need to think about September 10th.
Yes.
That's all I need to think about. Yeah. There's still 8 hours left, almost 8 hours left. All right, Max,
no doubt.
Thank you, man. Are you you're not going anywhere, obviously. We're kicking
it on the couch this weekend, fellas.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure you will join me in doing the same. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Max
All right,
Olson.
buddy. Take care.
That's a loyal dude right there to us. Even before we announced our first day of the show, he told me, hey, I want to be on whenever you guys start, and it was April the 6th, and he's been on with us basically almost every week. The statement from Ryan Day, I wonder if Desmond Howard's going to go off on him. While I understand the Big Ten Conference's decision to postpone football because of health and safety considerations, the communication of information the Big Ten following the decision has been disappointed, often unclear. However, we still have an opportunity to give our young men what they have worked so hard for, a chance to safely compete for a national championship this fall. I couldn't possibly be prouder. Medical personnel, da-da-da-da. The Big Ten Medical Subcommittee has done an excellent job creating a safe pathway towards returning to play in mid-October. These young men and their parents have asked so many questions I do not have an answer to. But the one that hurts the most is why can these other teams and players play and we can't? Duke is playing Notre Dame and Clemson is playing Wake Forest this weekend, and our players want to know why can't they play.
They can't tell them why they can't play because the truth would hurt the Big Ten, I think, a lot more than what they've already come out with. I absolutely think this is in many ways politically motivated. I think that there are health concerns obviously on the table as well, but I just have a really hard time believing that it's so different in Big Ten territory and in that footprint from everywhere else, especially when, as pointed out there are teams within the Big Ten footprint that are going forward with their seasons. There's Iowa State playing, and Iowa's not. Make sense of that if you can, possibly. You can't.
Notre Dame is playing, but Indiana and Purdue are not.
Exactly. So it's very much a political thing, and I don't know what the end goal is. I don't know if this is a, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it's politics to me. Kevin Warren is off to a really rough start. He's going to be given some cushion because he is just starting out in this job, but I think he's really overestimated his power in the Big Ten standing. I think that's evident as the weeks have gone by.
All right, we'll have Mickey Spagnola, and then today Britton Bronowski, who's a part of the College Football Foundation playoff and all of what they're doing. They're doing a big initiative about education and teachers, and we'll have him at 4:45. Then Herm Edwards, Hair on Fire, full throttle at 5 o'clock today. Sam Bradshaw, 5:30. We will be at Mac Peoples Stadium tomorrow night, a game between Connolly and Springtown. It's a 6:30 pregame, not 7 this week. A 6:30 pregame, 7 o'clock is the kick. And we'll have high school football coverage galore tomorrow as well. We were going to have Joe Klatt tomorrow, but that game now, of course, has been canceled. He asked if he could come back on a little bit later. He has 2 days to prepare for what otherwise they normally would have a full week. And so I completely understood him asking for that.
Can you what game did they
Kansas
just
State, wasn't it?
So they just moved everybody down like
No,
so
remember they just had to find a spot for that big noon.
No, I'm thinking of so they're going to do like that crew's going to do that game. No
They're
matter
the number
what.
one crew.
Never was. Yeah, that's why I was wondering if they could.
They're
do that
going to
this
get
week.
the 11 o'clock. That was the prime time, and so Gus Johnson and Joe Klatt, and someone's missing a game.
Yeah.
Someone got either
probably the crew that was going to do the Kansas State game.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Somebody got bumped.
Somebody got bumped. That I don't know who it was, but they're going to do the game. And Joel said, "Hey, I got 2 days now." And they normally would have had all that information in front of them, even perhaps at the end of last week, especially with no games being played until this week, although a couple of last week were played. Coming up, Mickey Spagnola, the Cowboys open Sunday night. He's next on Sikkim 365 Radio.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. They had the summer savings event going on there for a while with all sorts of great deals. I mean, just tremendous deals. And, well, those tremendous deals are going to be continuing on. Richard Carr, first thing that you need to know, they are the people that you can count on. They are locally owned. They are Baylor Bear alumni, and they're going to do everything possible to earn your business. Whereas they just finished the summer savings event, the savings don't stop there. It's now the kickoff savings event at Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac. All 2020 vehicles on their lot are priced to move now. If you want the best truck, well, then you want a GMC. During Richard Carr's kickoff savings event, qualified buyers will score huge savings like $8,000 off on a 2020 GMC Sierra. Or you can save $6,000 on the roomy 3-row 2020 GMC Acadia. They've also got the 3-row Buick Enclaves, the 2020 models, full of room and full of luxury, $8,000 off right now. And speaking of luxury and a little bit of style, let Richard Carr bring the Cadillac experience to you. Drive one of the exhilarating Cadillac SUVs like the XT4, XT5, or the 7-passenger Cadillac XT6. Get yours today, started at only $35,900 at Richard Carr Cadillac, or find one of the best sedan values on the market with the exhilarating 2020 Cadillac CT4, starting at $32,995. Big selection, great prices, free oil changes with new purchase, VIP priority warranty service on all vehicles purchased at Richard Carr Motors. They stand by to support all of their customers with award-winning service. And as I mentioned at the beginning, it's a locally family-owned dealership. They want to earn your business now and every car that you drive into the future. So stop by their disinfected showroom, see their safety-focused staff. They can bring the test drive to your home because your comfort and safety is Richard Carr's first priority. Find them online at richardcarr.com or see them in person, Highway 6, the Imperial Exit.
Parenting is full of surprises.
You never know what to expect.
So after our son was born, I called my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent to set up a life insurance policy in case something happened to me.
Sawyer is now 2.
And we'll soon have a sister. There's no one else I would trust with protecting my family.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Boots add protection. Good boots help you climb better and move forward faster. And when your son or daughter steps into the boots of a U.S. Army officer, they also learn how to lead. In these boots, they'll gain more confidence with expert training in one of more than 150 occupational specialties. In these boots, they'll stand a little taller and lead a team with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise to successfully accomplish whatever challenge comes next. In these boots, they'll earn respect with valuable experience from day one that will give them solid footing for success into the future. Highly qualified candidates who earn a spot on our team can receive comprehensive health care coverage, college tuition assistance, and a bonus of up to $40,000. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Prescott, we're going to keep it all. What a zone read. Look at Dak Prescott with room to roll. Prescott still going down to the 20.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with Mickey Spagnola of DallasCowboys.com. Brought to you by the First National Bank of Central Texas, with 5 locations to serve you.
We will we'll get Mickey on here just a second. DallasCowboys.com. Cowboys and Rams on Sunday night. It's kind of like the NFL season, which we also weren't sure. They've done the professional leagues have done an incredible job. And they also have unlimited budget. They have a money that when you start giving guys like, for example, Jalen Ramsey has the best ever contract as a corner. And then Mahomes. And then there's Deshaun Watson. And there's all these others. By the way, there was a thought that COVID could maybe be a bad time to have a contract up. Doesn't seem to be that's a problem. Even Dak, no matter what, not the years or the guaranteed like upfront money, but he's still going to make 30-something million a year. Is that right? We got Mickey?
Yeah, we do.
All right, Mickey Spagnola. Mickey, thanks for your time. There was a thought that perhaps because of COVID, the loss of revenue, whatever, that there could be an issue with contracts or whatever. Man, it looks like the best contracts of all time at various positions are being signed. Did that just go out the window as a problem?
Yeah, and I don't think it was a problem when it came to the Cowboys negotiating with Dak Prescott on a long-term deal. Because if you think about it, signing him to a long-term deal would have reduced his cap hit of $31.4 million of this year. So Yeah, it was a matter of what the Cowboys thought it was worth and what their side thought they should get. And unfortunately, they never came to a mutual decision. And so he's got to play poor guy for $31.4 million. Now, the only difference is, he's going to get paid week by week to get to $31.4. You sign a long-term deal, they would have handed him $50 million. It would have been in the bank already.
Yeah.
Well, that's not going to happen, and that won't happen until after the season is over. And don't distort what Deshaun Watson got, because if you look at the inside of that contract and where the guarantees are, if you just look at the guarantees, and remember, he still had 2 years left on his contract that they have to fulfill. So it's not just a 4-year, $156 million extension. It's like a 6-year, $180 million extension. And my good University of Missouri math tells me that comes to $30 million a year.
Yep.
And the Cowboys were trying to pay Dak $35 million a year.
Mickey, Rams this week, the injury list doesn't appear to be that bad when you get past the guys who are on IR, Sean Lee and La'el Collins. But secondary-wise, should they be all right this week with Cheeto and Xavier Woods both playing?
Yeah, both guys practiced fully today. I think they were even full yesterday. So those two guys are good to go. The only guy that hasn't worked back into practice is Jordan Lewis. He was at least out there, and he hadn't been out there with the team the previous 2 weeks. So he's getting closer with the ankle. He was just on the resisting cord, so I don't think he makes it in. I don't think they're going to send Brandon Carr out there. He didn't have a training camp. So all he would have had is 3 practices since the end of last season. So maybe another week for him. And plus he's on the practice squad. Now you can always activate 2 guys off the practice squad on game day. So yeah, my concern, and you mentioned the IR guys, is not having La'el Collins. So now you got to start a backup offensive tackle, and Cameron Irving, who they signed for that job, he missed a week and a half or so of training camp with his own physical problems, and after that, the other day when La'el didn't practice and they sent out Irving to the right tackle position, and I'm going, well, who's the next guy up? Because I'm looking around, and Brandon Knight was still trying to come back from an injury. Mitch Hyatt is already on IR. And the next guy up that I could see out there was a rookie free agent from Texas Tech, Terrence Steele. So that was even, somebody told me, you're starting to sound like Bill Parcells. It's like you can't have everything. But I said, well, one more injury at tackle, what do they do? So that's one of the concerns I would have going into this game.
Mickey, I know it's not game related, but what did you think of the interview Dak Prescott did that's been getting a lot of play, him opening up about the passing of his brother? Just what, I guess, were your kind of thoughts on Dak, being emotional and revealing more about himself?
Yeah, you know what? He talked about it today in his interview here and just why he did it and everything. And he said he discovered, and he said, I sort of discovered this when my mom passed away. He said, the more I talk to people and kind of reveal my inner feelings, that it helped me. It helped me get over an edge. It helped me to get in a better mental standpoint. And he said, so, when he did the interview, and it's kind of the first one he's done, and I don't know if anybody else asked him those specific questions, he said he thought it helped. And he said it helped him that he had people to talk to about all this stuff, and help him out and how he was feeling. And as he said today, he said, and me talking about this, maybe that helps somebody else. We all got problems. This is a crazy year. He goes, but sometimes when you're willing to talk about it with other people, you look and you go, okay, I'm not out here by myself. And I thought he was very insightful. I haven't seen that interview. I've seen the excerpts, and I can't wait to be able to hear the whole thing. But what he said today, boy, this guy is really, really sharp.
Yeah, and he just seems like he handles things, and you never know. You never know what a personality might be like. And when they drafted him, obviously everybody let him go for 3 rounds, almost 4. But when they drafted him, yes, they had to feel like there's a chance he could be a quarterback down the road. They had Tony Romo. They had Kellen Moore. But what was said about him back then? Do you know about his personality, about his leadership skills? Because it seemed like he had that same thing at Mississippi State.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a matter of fact, David, I had some insight into him because one of my best friends when I was working in Jackson, Mississippi is still there. So he was very familiar with Dak's career. And he basically told me the Cowboys got him something special near the end of the 4th round. He goes, this guy put, Mississippi State on his back his junior year and had him ranked number 1 in the nation. People forget that. Mississippi State, right? And he just couldn't say enough about Dak Prescott and the type of person he was. And then when you started kind of getting into his background and see what he went through and reading what other people had to say about him, you're going, okay, maybe they got something here. Because really, when they drafted him, the idea was we're going to groom this guy to be our backup quarterback of the future. Tony Romo's going to play another 5 years for sure, right? And then he gets thrown into the heap. As a matter of fact, in that preseason game in L.A. when he first kind of went in there, and then Tony got hurt afterwards, and here's one of his best qualities, and he pointed it out when people were asking him about the contract, about what's going on in the off season and everything, and he goes, I think one of my best assets is I'm a now person. I try to stay in the now. He says, because if I don't take care of the now, then I can't handle the future. The future is out of my hands, but I can handle the now. And when I heard that from him, and I'm going, I wish I was that smart at 26, 27 years old. Maybe even at my age now, right? But if you're going to play quarterback, that's what you got to do. And that was one of Tony Romo's greatest qualities in games. You have a bad play, and it's like if you sit there and belabor it, then you're going to screw up the next play. And I think he learned that from golf, right? You hit one into the weeds, and if you sit there and you're brooding about, I got to hit off the rough, well, now you're not thinking about how to hit off the rough. So that's kind of that guy. I can't say enough about him. I just think the way he handles things, and even Mike McCarthy, I don't know what Mike thought he was inheriting, but the more he was around him, all he can talk about was how other people follow him, and he doesn't have to try hard to make that happen.
Mickey, the Rams this week, empty stadium, so no home field advantage, and it might have been slanted, more the Cowboys' way than normal just because of the amount of fans they have out there. But what matchups do you think are going to be difficult for the Cowboys on defense this week?
Well, from a defensive standpoint, they've got still a pretty strong wide receiver group, and then they added this new guy, Van Jefferson, is it? Rookie wide receiver. Cooper Kupp, back healthy last year. But remember, last year when they played them, they held them to 21 points, and 2 of those touchdowns came midway through the 4th quarter. So they were pounding them last year. I forgot about it. I had to go back and look at the box score. It was 7-7. And the next time you turned around, it was 37-7. The Cowboys scored 30 consecutive points on them. So I don't know what that factors into this year. It's new coaches. They have a new defensive coordinator. But the thing I do know is this team plays pretty well defensively when they stop the run. And they held the Rams to 22 points. Now think about that. That's 250 less yards than they gave up in that playoff loss to the Rams. So, and they don't have Todd Gurley anymore. Now they got some nice running backs, and you don't earn the right, you don't get the right to rush the quarterback unless you stop the run. So that to me will be the dominant factor for this defense if they can do that, because I think they've got some guys that can get to the quarterback.
You mentioned that playoff game. They did. They gashed them. They just gashed them right up their heart and soul. And that reminded me, it was the Rams. And Didn't Eric Dickerson and the Rams do that one time when he was young against a proud
Oh,
Cowboys
he did.
defense?
I think he did it to him twice. I think he did it. It was the 83 playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he basically set the Cowboys franchise record for giving up most yards in a playoff game. He was still as Everson Walls told me, he's still running and gaining yards against us. But they couldn't stop him. Couldn't stop him. And the Rams were the team that got in their way in 83 and 85 both times. But stopping that run is going to be important. And then the other thing, you guys, I think is going to be critical is how well they can compensate for the loss of La'el Collins. I worry about that right tackle position.
Yeah, I mentioned that as their offensive line, and we got another segment coming up here in just a minute. But Tyron Smith's a year older, still phenomenal, but still a year older, and at times he can have the back flare up. And then you have Connor Williams coming off an ACL, and then you lose Frederick, and then Collins is out.
Isn't it crazy that just a couple of years ago you'd have said, well, the Cowboys' offensive line is set for years to come, but they got to fill out some of these other positions, and now it's kind of flipped just a little bit, but flipped nonetheless.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And oh, by the way, Aaron Donald's on the other side, right?
Yeah, there's
and he's versatile enough that they'll find the soft spot. I don't care if it's head up on the center, if it's between the center and the guard. Heck, they can move him out to defensive end if they think that right side of the Cowboys line is not hanging in there. And it occurred to me the other day, you guys, when I was watching practice and La'el was not out there. So Cam Irving's out at right tackle. And they signed him to be the backup swing tackle. He's got some experience, been in the league 5 years, was a former first-round pick, started 8 games for the Chiefs. So he's out at right tackle. And then I got in my Bill Parcells mode. I looked around and I go, well, one more injury, who's up next? And it scared me. I'm sitting there looking around and I'm going, okay, Terrence Steele, undrafted free agent from Texas Tech. He looks like he's the next guy. And that didn't make me feel good. And so, I'll be interested to see who ends up starting and who ends up being the backup swing tackle once they get to game day. And they got to make sure that position doesn't ruin the offense like we saw happen in, was it 2017 in Atlanta when Chaz Green couldn't hold up at left tackle when Tyron got hurt?
Yeah, it was bad. Mickey, thank you very much. Have fun. Enjoy the start of the season. Thanks for your time. Appreciate all your insight and also knowledge and, of course, your friendship and loyalty as well. When we come back, 4:45, it will have Britton Banowski. He's a part of the College Football Foundation on a initiative for teachers and education that they're doing. And then also today in about 20 minutes, Herm Edwards will join us on Sikkim 365 Radio. Pickup Outfitters, where you could put what you want in the back of your pickup bed if it's not already laid, got covered at the bottom, like you have a lay-in or spray-in bed liner. You banging things around. That's what you get a pickup truck for, but some are so nice. But you want to keep it that way. So to protect the bed of your truck, there's 2 or 3 things you can do. And one of the things you can do is get a spray-in or lay-in bed liner. So that way when you throw something in there, it doesn't just start denting the back of your pickup bed. On top of that, you could also protect it from the elements because of wind, rain, and today the weather changed a little bit, huh? Right? It got chilly and a little bit nasty. And so why not make sure you protect whatever you have in the back of your pickup truck with a bed cover, whether it's hard folding, hard and soft roll-up, removable, one-piece lids, retractable, paint to match, covers to fit any budget, any size of bed in your pickup truck, and professionally installed with Pickup Outfitters, lifetime installation warranty, guarantee, and free warranty assistance as well. CreativeCommotion.com is the website. Worry-free purchase from Pickup Outfitters, now serving the Waco area for 20 years. Learn more about the bed covers, see the displays in their showroom at 2020 Lake Air Drive, and the website again, CreativeCommotion.com/covers/. Pickup Outfitters, again, the most important things that happen, well, your pickup bed. Your pickup bed with covers, lay in, spray in, protect it. Pickup Outfitters, createacommotion.com.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, specializing in diagnosis and treatment of any and all sport-related injuries, celebrating over a decade of service to Central Texas. They tackle all surgical and non-surgical problems that arise from an active lifestyle. Trust the doctors that Baylor trust, and when injuries sideline you, don't wait for Monday. Join us at 8:30 on Saturday mornings for a post-game injury evaluation clinic. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. We get you back in the game.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
What season is it? It's truck season at Allen Samuels. Ram trucks are raring to go, ready to work and play, and all feature the best deals of the year during Ram Power Days. Come get your brand new Ram Lone Star at Allen Samuels with 0% for 72 and no payments for 90 days. Or choose up to $9,250 in bonus cash and incentives. Ram, the highest pickup owner loyalty in America. Shop, apply, buy online. We deliver. Ram Power Days at Allen Samuels.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Dr. Kent Petty wants you to be the highest performance man you want to be. Are you sluggish, lack energy? Do you suffer from low sex drive? Petty Clinic Low T offers discounted comprehensive lab work to check on your various levels that can make a difference. It's not only time for you to be the man you want to be with higher energy and stamina and improved sex drive, but also the healthiest and high performance man. Screening for cardiac heart disease risk, EKG, cholesterol panel, blood pressure monitoring, testosterone or growth hormone deficiency, male infertility, hepatitis C, and prostate cancer screening. Petty Clinic Low T offers replacement therapy for testosterone or growth hormones, weight management therapy, and nutritional advice. It's not only time for you to be the man you want to be with higher energy, stamina, and improved sex drive, but the healthiest and highest performance man. PettyClinicLowT.com, PettyClinicLowT.com on Old Hewitt Road, just off Highway 84 in Woodward. PettyClinicLowT.com.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
The Sikkim 365 Radio Live Guest VIP Hotline is sponsored by Stonewood Dental. We are all in this together.
He is the executive director of the College Football Playoff Foundation. Britton Banowski joins us now on Sikkim 365 Radio with Craig and Paul. I'm David Smoke, and he also, of course, joins us because right now the College Football Playoff Foundation is about to launch an amazing thing on Monday, honoring education, honoring the teachers who educate youth of today. Britton, thanks for your time. We appreciate it as well. When did all this happen? Has this been done before? And your thoughts about the event itself, and thanks for your time.
Sure. I'm glad to be with you guys. Well, we have been at work supporting teachers for the last 5 years, really since the CFP Foundation was developed. It was built into our mission, and we built Extra Yard for Teachers, which is a cause initiative that all this kind of hangs under. And so we've invested almost $40 million to support teachers over the last 5 years from the platform of college football and the playoff. But we were kind of watching the way the pandemic was affecting college sports, but also educational systems in the spring. And we just decided that even though there may or may not be college football, we still have a responsibility to the teachers across the country. We watched them pivot in an amazing way as schools closed. They went out of the way to make sure their students, got a meal. They created technology solutions. They, got access to the internet for many of their students that didn't have it. And we just thought as they were stepping up, we needed to step up as well. So we basically have organized almost 150 of our partners to support teachers on one day, and that's next Monday, September 14th.
So what does that look like on Monday?
So it's going to be a coast-to-coast series of activities and announcements. Some of them we know about, others will just be organic. But, it starts in Miami, where we're going to announce a $2 million investment in middle school redesign alongside the host committee, where the game is this year. We're going to have investments in Phoenix with a Fiesta Bowl of $500,000 to support teachers in Arizona. We have every conference is involved in this. We have about 80 universities. We even have, through a partnership with the AFCA there in Waco, 100 high schools across the country that are going to celebrate a teacher and give a game ball to a teacher next week. So it's really coast to coast, a lot of surprises. ESPN has a lot of surprises for game day, not only this Saturday, but next Saturday and on Monday. So we're just delighted and thrilled with the response we've received from so many of our partners, and we expect investments over the next week really concentrated on money to exceed $4 million for teachers.
$4 million. And how will this then be distributed as far as how is it based on recommendations, on nominations, on how, on what?
No, so it's an entirely localized design. So in Miami, for example, in talking with the people in Miami-Dade County Public Schools, middle school redesign was what they wanted us to invest in, and so we did. In Indianapolis, it's around teacher workforce, and so we invest in nonprofits in Indianapolis to support teacher workforce. In many cases, it's delivery of classroom resources directly to teachers off of our DonorsChoose.org partnership, where teachers upload their project requests. So it really takes a lot of forms, and it's all localized, but it's one big expression when you add it all up to support teachers.
Britton Banowski with us on Sikkim 365 Radio as well. We're going to go back to this as well, but you have run a conference. Weren't you, Britton? Was it Conference USA? Was it the Southland Conference? You were a part of some conferences where you were the commissioner, correct?
I started with the Southland when I was 30 and ended up doing 15 years with Conference USA. I also did about 5 years with the old Southwest Conference, and not as a commissioner, but as an associate commissioner. And then I worked in the Big 12 for many years as well.
Aren't you glad right now you're not a commissioner of a conference?
What a great question. I got that question earlier from Rick Neuheisel. The answer is I am. I love what I do right now. I love to be able to use college football and use a sports platform to support a social cause and a social positive social outcome like education. That's kind of a dream job. And I stay in touch with a lot of my colleagues, and I don't envy the challenges they have right now in terms of sorting out decisions. You can plan for a lot of things as a commissioner. One thing we weren't planning for was a global pandemic. I can tell you, so there's no playbook for it. And the way that the commissioners have stepped up and worked with all their constituents, whether it's coaches and student athletes and presidents and athletic directors, to come to decision making is remarkable. And I know not everyone likes the decisions that are made, but the process has been really good, and I give them a lot of credit for it.
So Monday again, the College Football Playoff Foundation hosting this digital Q&A. Britton Banowski is with us, the executive director as well. All this happens on Monday. Other than the National Football League, is there anything more powerful as a sports group or association or league than college football, than maybe the NFL, which is also a billion-dollar league?
Yeah, I think college football is the second highest rated, biggest audience, biggest economic machine in the sports space. And so, that's what's so special about this opportunity is we're able to align that group of organizations against one singular cause. And everyone really believes in education. Deep down, they all know they had a teacher that changed their life or supported their son or daughter when they needed it. And so we know intuitively that teachers need to be supported, but oftentimes we forget to do it. And so to be able to take that big platform and focus it all on support for teachers is a really cool thing.
So do you know right now, you mentioned it's going to be about $4 million. Is that already something that's committed to, or is that something you could add to?
Well, $4 million is the collective financial commitment from all of the stakeholders across college football on that week.
Okay.
And announcements are going to happen coast to coast, and giving will happen as well, coast to coast, next week and on Monday.
I bet there are a lot of parents over the last, since mid-March, who maybe they did not have enough respect or did not honor teachers enough. But I know that every profession has some that are not quite as good as others. But I bet there's a lot of parents that by the early part of April said, and I've said this for a long, long time, and this gets into legislative, state, whatever, but teachers are underpaid. And this is great that you're doing this, because I guarantee you there are millions of parents that were ready to slam their head against a door, many times. Not because it was their kids, but because they had to teach their kids and realize how hard the job might be. Don't you agree?
I do. I mean, we've been talking for 3 or 4 years now about how much we need to recognize and thank and appreciate teachers, and that typically unrecognized and underappreciated. And so, but when you have like an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old at home all day long with you, when they heretofore had been in school, you really do appreciate the value of that teacher-student relationship.
Yeah, I just think so. And great stuff, Britton. It's great to talk to you. Fantastic. The big day, largest single event of community impact ever undertaken by the extended college football family. That's coming up on Monday. You mentioned the Q&A. Is there a link they should go to? Anything in particular where they should go to if they want to be a part of this, or at least watch how it unfolds?
Well, I mean, you can go to the CFP Foundation website, cfp-foundation.org. You can go to our Instagram. You can follow us on Instagram as well. And ultimately, I would say, though, to your listeners that if you want to help, go out of your way on Monday to find a teacher and tell them how much you appreciate their work and what they've done for your kids or grandkids, or if you have a teacher that's still alive that you remember from 5th grade or something that was special to you, send them a note, pick up the phone, and then if you want to invest in projects to support teachers in your community, go to donorschoose.org, find the elementary school in your neighborhood, and chances are there'll be a teacher with a project uploaded, some sort of classroom supplies, and you can help fund it.
Thank you, Britton. Appreciate your time. Again, that's Britton Banowski of the College Football Foundation. Thank you very much for your time. It's 4:56. Craig Smoke, Paul Catalina. I'm David Smoke, Sikkim 365 Radio. Thanks to Elon Warner for helping us set that up, also through the greatness of what Tony Fay and his company do as well. The executive director of the College Football Playoff Foundation, Britton Banowski, we appreciate his time. Up next, Herm Edwards. Get your seatbelt. This is Sikkim 365 Radio. Don Humidor, your home for the best in cigars in their 48-foot walk-in humidor. You could also get CBD product, by the way, if you want any kind of aid when it comes to making sure you get a great night's sleep. You can also, if you want, have all of the array of aroma and different taste and flavor of coffee beans, fresh coffee beans from all over you can imagine the world. But there's cigars with Macanudo or Arturo Fuente or Rocky Patel, Aston, H. Upman, and more. And, of course, the Aging Room. My father as well. All of those brands available. With Carol and Ashley and the Cigar Aficionados, they can help you get what you want. It's Don Humidor in the Tanglewood West Shopping Center, Town West Shopping Center, off Valley Mills in Waco.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi. Great priced chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco. House-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine. Best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 260,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans in all Texan ways of life.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma. And they have to come here. They're used to lights. They're used to water in their mouth. They're used to experience. They already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
This is what's great about sports. This is what the greatest thing about sports is. You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it. That's the great thing about sports. You play to win. And I don't care if you don't have any wins. You go play to win.
The 5 o'clock hour is brought to you by Edward Jones and financial advisor Cam Heathcott. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
Here we go. We start this last hour on this Thursday, September the 10th, thanks to Britton Badowski, College Football Foundation. Also, a couple of updates from today. The NFL starts tonight with the Chiefs and Texans and two dynamic, young star quarterbacks, the defending champions. Baylor, still as of now, not able to find a game next week after the game with Louisiana Tech tomorrow or Saturday was canceled. We're now joined by, perhaps in my 39 years in the business, and I say this with every bit of sincerity and honesty, one of the best segments you could ever have. Herm Edwards, head coach at Arizona State, with us now on Sikkim 365 Radio. I have been talking to Mark Bland about trying to get you on. I know you've been busy. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time. How you been?
Well, thank you, and thanks for allowing me to be on your show. It's been trying times, I think, for the world, for our country, for everyone involved in what we've witnessed the last 3 or 4 months, whether it be the COVID situation, whether it be social unrest. It all becomes something that you look at, and hopefully, 10 years, 20 years from now, it'll be a part of the history of America, and you'll say, why did some of this have to happen, and how did we deal with it when it happened?
Haven't we done that before, and are we ever going to learn?
Well, social part, I've seen the story.
Yep.
I saw it in '68 when I was 14 years old. I can remember sitting at the house with my father talking about it. And my daughters turned 14 and 15, and I'm talking to them about the same story. That movie.
As a coach and someone who has to lead young athletes, all who are now discovering they have more of a voice than maybe they did in the past, what has been your message to your team about speaking their mind and also doing it productively and making sure that that they're together as a team?
Well, I think you made the point of together, but here again on certain issues, you might not agree, but I do know this. On the social part of it, when you think about it, I tell them this: you have these platforms now you can use, but make sure you study the subject, make sure you're well versed of the subject, and make sure when you speak you have solutions. You have solutions of helping America move forward, and be a good listener. You have to be a good listener. And when you have those things, now you have a chance to move America forward. I do believe this. The young people today, they're trying to push this big boulder because this doesn't happen overnight. It's not a light switch. And I marvel at them. I marvel at their energy, their passion, the signs of hope to push this boulder. And I tell young people all the time, when you're in something like this movement that we feel that is taken over, this will benefit your children. Might not benefit you, but it will benefit your children. And that is very important for them to understand.
Very well said, Coach. And that's, not the only thing that obviously has been of interest in the headlines as far as what college students are dealing with. There's also, of course, COVID-19, and that's what everybody, we're all dealing with that, not just college students, but how unique of a wrench has that been in plans, for the season, and just how have you guys been able to adapt and deal with, this issue that we're all trying to cope with?
Well, I've always said this in coaching and in life as well. A plan that can't be changed is a bad plan. So you get into this having this plan in spring football that you're going to have another practice date, and all of a sudden that's canceled, and before you know it, your season's postponed. With that being said, I just think our coaching staff, our administrators, all the people involved in this have done a great job of communicating to our players and letting them know that there's some hope around the corner for us. I'm going to go on a Pac-12 meeting here shortly, and when I get done with you guys in 30 minutes, and we're going to discuss maybe trying to bring back football here in the Pac-12, which would be good for everyone. But with that being said, a lot of it will weigh on the doctors' game plans, and that's how it has always been in our conference. We relied on the doctors. We knew it in the beginning that they would make the decision, and then obviously the presidents voted on it. It was 12-0 that we postponed. So we're in a position now that maybe we can see some football here sooner than later.
Yeah, have you been watching kind of what's happening with the Big Ten? Because of the same day as when the Pac-12 also shut it down. Have you seen what's happening? How do you keep this from fracturing the conference?
Well, I think the thing for me is, personally, and I think every coach understands that, you never let the noise outside the building affect what you need to do. And that's kind of always been my marching orders. I kind of heard that from my dad. He was a master sergeant, fought the Korean War and World War II. He said, when you lead people, he said, you can't listen outside noise. He says, you got to lead. They're going to make sure to listen to you. And so we've kept all that stuff here, and our players have adjusted to it. The coaches have adjusted to it. We were meeting, we're weight training, we're working out, we're having some walkthroughs, we're having some individual stuff. Now we haven't gotten together yet with helmets on or actually had a practice, but hopefully that's around the corner for us. And our players are excited about that possibility.
How has the job maybe changed a little bit as coaches this year? Not that you always don't address the mental health of your players, but particularly this year in addressing the mental health of your team and making sure that things, don't slide kind of out of control for a guy.
Well, I think it's very important. There's two types of leaders in life. The leaders that, lead by their seat or the ones that lead by their feet. I'm one of those guys that lead by seat. I'm always around the players. I don't sit behind my desk and wait till practice before I see the players. I'm in the locker room, in the weight room, in the training room. I'm working out with them when I can at times. But they don't want to get up as early as me either. They don't want to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. So I got to wait on them half the time. But I think the more you have a feel for your locker room, it gives you a better idea. When you lead, the number one thing you got to realize is you got to hear the voices of the people that you lead, and that's the players. You got to understand their concerns, and if you're not down there with them, you don't quite understand that. It kind of goes on, kind of goes behind the door. Well, you don't want it to go behind the door. You want to know how they're feeling about everything right now, and that's important to me.
Coach, is the 4 a.m. wake up, is that a product of being in a military family?
Yeah.
When did that kind of start in your life?
Oh, I started that when I was, a pro football player. And I just kept it up. I'm an early guy. And when you get my age, you just want to wake up. You don't want to sleep very long, About every 4 hours, I check the clock. I got up again. I'm good.
Hey, wait a minute. You're just a little bit older than me. I think I think you're right. You go to sleep hoping there is tomorrow. You're exactly right.
If you just, I wake up like about every hour or two. I look at the clock. I say, I'm good, man. I'm good. I won't up again. Right?
Where did you get your passion? When was that something ingrained, as you mentioned, your father? What? Because you have it.
You know what? I'm going to say that I think you find your passion when you understand your purpose. It's funny, the world we live in, and I always ask my players, man, what is your purpose? What do you want to do? Right? I mean, it's a simple question, but you'd be surprised when you ask people that. They're like, well, no. Because we live in a world that you grow up on a conveyor belt, especially being an athlete, right? You start in school, and school kind of tells you what to do. It kind of takes you along from kindergarten to high school, then you get to go to college. Well, you're on this conveyor belt, and it kind of programs your life. You're an athlete, but you're kind of like everything else is kind of programmed for you. And I always ask players, what is your purpose? Where are you going? What do you want to do? You'd be surprised some of the looks I get.
When did There was a time, and we had a player on about 7, 8, 10 years ago that mentioned that when you walked in the locker room, everything outside of it disappeared. Now that's changed, hasn't it?
Well, it has because due to social media.
Yes.
Right. And the platforms that social media has, and I always tell players, I say, look, this is our home. You know, when you walk in this building, this is our home. We're actually a family, and that's what's so great about football. You know, football is the great equalizer because no matter your zip code, religion, doesn't matter what color you are, when you walk in the building, you're all on the same team. It's like, okay, we got to get along with each other. You know, it's funny because you learn how to communicate and you actually understand how other people view things. And you know, you get to live in someone else's shoes that might not look like you. And that's the greatest thing about the game of the sport. Because you walk in this tunnel or you walk into the arena, I call it the huddle. You get in a huddle and there's a bunch of folks in there and you go, okay, let's figure this thing out. We're going to go on this journey this year and we need everybody in this room. We need coaches, players, we need everybody on the team. We got to understand. I'll set the course. And this is the journey we're about to go on. And there's going to be some ups and downs, and there's going to be some highs and some lows. But you know what? We're all in this together, and we need each other. That's the power of sports. That's the power of it. It's a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing to watch. And when you've done it your whole life, you don't know anything else. Look, I'm indebted to the game of football. There's no doubt. I owe football more than it could ever pay me. I can't pay it back enough. I really can't. I've never done anything else. I was a pretty good athlete in high school, went to college on scholarship, went into pro football, stayed 30 years, then put makeup on, went on television, talked about football. Then I went crazy and came back and started coaching football, right? But I'm indebted to the game.
Herm Edwards, head football coach at Arizona State, with us on Sikkim 365 Radio. Paul?
Coach, you went back into coaching football and a different college. There's a lot of different responsibilities you have than when you're in the NFL. It's X's and O's at the end of the day, but there's still so many things. What about coaching at the college level has rejuvenated your coaching drive?
Well, coaching boils down to this. No coach in the history of coaching any sport has given a player talent. You give them knowledge. That's your number one job. You give them knowledge. And I want to give them some of the things I've learned along my career as being a player and coach. I look at these kids when we recruit them, or they sit in the meeting rooms. You know, it's hard in the meeting rooms anymore. You can't have them all in the same room anymore. But when they used to sit in the meeting rooms all together, and you can look at them, a lot of those guys look just like me, and they have the same aspirations I have. They're all wanting to know, Coach, what is it? And that's what you help them with. You grow them up. You have an obligation to grow them up. Tell every parent this. Your son will leave here with a degree. And if he's not a better man for being here, then I failed you. And I'm not into failing parents or children.
Coach, you guys have a good number of players from the state of Texas on your roster heading into the season. Actually, a Baylor transfer, and Tamarcus Davis, who we covered for a little while he was here. One player that's no longer on your roster because he's now playing pro football is Eno Benjamin, and I followed his career very closely. I was just curious your thoughts on, recruiting players from the state of Texas and kind of how maybe they differ from other parts of the country, and on Eno Benjamin, just your thoughts of the time you got to work with him.
Well, tremendous talent, mentally tough, and made the Cardinals roster, which was great. That didn't surprise me one bit. I think when you think about certain pockets of our country, football in Texas, obviously, it speaks for itself. I've been involved in football a long, long time, playing with guys in professional lengths. I mean, it's a state where that football is important to them. I'm not saying other states not, because every state varies, but a lot of great players have come out of that state when you think about it. There and Florida, California, Georgia, those are some of the states when you look at NFL rosters. A lot of kids come out of those states, And so it behooves you not to recruit there. Is it hard to get them? Yeah, because you got Texas and Texas A&M, and you got some great universities in the state of Texas that are going after them. But every once in a while, we can get one out of it.
Herm, Lovie Smith, Tony Dungy. I've known Lovie. I'm lucky to have known him since the early 80s. He's now at Illinois, turning that thing around, obviously, what Tony Dungy did. Tony Dungy was a part of a Zoom meeting with Dave Aranda, who's now the head coach at Baylor, who's had success wherever he's been. Your thoughts about Dave Aranda and what you know of him and how you think he will transition into being a head coach?
Well, I know a little bit about him. I don't know him personally, but everything I hear, he checks all the boxes. A man of great integrity, obviously, and I think when you take over a program like that has some success now. A coach that left there had a lot of success, right? And so I just think he knows what he's walking into. But he's in a good place to recruit. And I think that's what the lifeblood of college is. That's the difference between pros and college. You know, in pro football, you draft. In college, they choose you. So, you know, it's all about recruiting, and you're constantly recruiting. And that's the thing that I don't say it caught me by surprise, but I didn't understand the volume of it. Probably 80% of your life is recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you may win on the chalkboard when you draw stuff up, but the players actually got to win on the field. And the better players you have, you're a really good coach. I mean, when you got good players, you're a good coach. I learned that now. I figured that out a long time ago. Especially when you get a guy that plays quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Because when you have a good quarterback, boy, I tell you what, on them Friday nights before them Saturday night games, you sleep good at night.
Yeah.
When you don't, you're trying to figure out that field is about 150 yards long, man, when you don't have a good quarterback.
Were you fueled by anybody, or did anyone say you're making a mistake getting back in the game at the college level? And you don't need motivation. You are a motivator. But was that something you ever heard before you took the job, or when you took the job at ASU?
No. All the people like Tony and all those guys, Dungy and a bunch of my guys said, good for you, man. You will help college football. And that's what I'm trying to do, to be quite honest. I didn't take this job to go get another job. And I've said it when I took this. This is my last job. This is it. I want to build this program and put it in a position where whoever takes over when I leave, they're in good position. They've got a good young nucleus, which we have right now. You know, we have a young nucleus of players. We played 32 freshmen last year. We don't have a lot of seniors. We don't have 7 seniors. But we're trying to build the program. And it takes a little time. It's our 3rd season now, but we've had some success. But we want more success than what we've accomplished thus far. The thing we got, and I just said a few minutes ago, guys, I got a pretty good quarterback now.
Yeah, you do.
Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, you do.
Who was the coach that had the biggest influence on you when you were a young player?
Oh, young player? Mm-hmm. Probably the first coach I've ever dealt with when I played tackle football was my high school coach. He's 90 years old. He still lives in Monterey. We have our other home in Carmel. Obviously, you guys know I'm a West Coast guy. And I still see him. Actually called me day before yesterday. He wants me to come on this conference call, at one of the luncheons that he's at, you know. So I called in there for him. But he was a big influence. Dick Vermeil. My pro career was a big influence. And then Tony Dungy. I mean, Tony and myself, the story is that you guys don't know it. We came out the same time out of college together, Tony and myself. And we played in some all-star games together. And we grew a friendship there. And then we ended up working together when he left Pittsburgh and went to Kansas City. And I came from college football at San Jose State and started working with the Chiefs. So I was with Tony, and then he hired me as an assistant head coach and mentored me to become a head coach in the NFL when I was at Tampa.
Coach, you mentioned your quarterback there, Jaden Daniels, a couple of times. I mean, what do you think the future looks like for him? And as a team, as a program, what was it like to experience not the success you ultimately want to experience, but to get that bowl victory and finish off the season like that? A two-part question, I guess. Jaden Daniels' upside, and just being able to get that bowl victory.
Yeah, well, Jaden has a tremendous upside. Great work ethic. He came in here as a freshman. And I gave him the ball. I said, look, your ball. I said, look. I said, the only thing I'm going to tell you is don't throw it to the bad guys. Right? And he did. I mean, he did. I don't think he had 1-2 turnovers. Now, with that being said, I told him this season we're building the offense around you. So we've changed our whole offense, and it's around him. Now, he needs help. You know, you got your quarterback can't do it by himself. Now, we've got some pretty skilled players. We've been fortunate the last 2 years. We've actually got 2 receivers drafted in the first round, back to back. So we have some skilled guys on the perimeter, on offense, as well as defense. You know, our key, and I think for any program, is the guys up front. You know, the big guys. If you watch that BYU game and you watch how they handled Army, boy, it was impressive. And it was the big guys. They make it all happen, and that's what we got to continue to do. Get big guys on both sides of the ball. We will get our share of perimeter players. We will get our share of those guys. It's the big guys on the defensive side of it and the big men up front on the offensive side of it. If you can get that, you got a chance.
Herm, my father, who was a Naval Academy graduate, we were in Tempe back in the late 60s, and he got his master's degree when he was at Luke Air Force Base. And I know he's looking down right now, happy that you're the head coach at ASU because you represent everything that I think my father represented as well, Craig's grandfather. I know he's got to be happy the Sun Devils football program's in good hands.
Well, I thank you for those comments. And look, being a military brat, you know, I understand. I understand the orders and what team means and all those other things. It's important to you. It's a fabric of my life. I can't thank my dad enough for the things he taught me, you know, growing up. And as we know, guys, the thing that he was a master sergeant, right? And he always told me this. He said, son, you know, he says, when you lead people, don't take it for granted. You actually serve them. They don't serve you. If you remember that, they'll follow you.
Thank you, Coach. We know you got a meeting to get into. We appreciate it so much for you jumping on with us. Good luck whenever your season begins. Good luck getting that thing kick-started, and appreciate who you are and what you represent again.
Thank you, my friend. God bless you now.
Herm Edwards, head football coach at Arizona State. You play to win the game. You heard Paul pop that on a couple of different times today. He was fantastic on ESPN when he said he's been a part of football for whatever amount of years of his life, and 30 or so. And if he wasn't coaching it or he wasn't playing it, then he started analyzing it. And he was really good at that as well. Doesn't always transfer that way.
He was really good, and I'm glad he's back in coaching because it's made me a bigger fan, honestly, is seeing him on the sidelines. And, man, I will be the first to admit I had serious doubts about him returning to college football. I was like, man, I don't know.
I mean, my thought wasn't like he can X and O with the best of them.
Right.
I mean, he's going to give you some knowledge. But I mean, recruiting, if you've not done it in a while, it's a whole different ball game. But you can hear that enthusiasm. There's very few people I know that have that kind of level. Like, that's Scott Drew enthusiasm right there. I mean, that's what recruiting really is about. Ultimately, is selling yourself and selling your program. And shoot, I don't know anybody who could do it better than. I mean, if Herm Edwards walked into my house, and I should have known this covering Scott Drew as long as I did. Like, if a guy that happy and enthusiastic and passionate about what he does walks into your house and says, do you want to come to Arizona State? You'd be crazy at least not to consider playing for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he probably gets in those living rooms and just absolutely knocks it out of the park. And would not be surprised if people who maybe welcomed him in and thought, you know what, I'm still going to probably go to USC, but that they have a conversation with him, and all of a sudden they're like, you know what? Maybe I should go visit Tempe next weekend or something.
It's a huge school.
Yeah, he's awesome. I'm glad he's in college football. I think it's good for the sport, and I'd much rather see him on the sidelines than behind a desk, not, demeaning his abilities as a media guy, but I just think he's good for the game of football, being in the role he's in right now.
By the way, on the Willis Law Firm chat room, a lot of folks on there right now, and one of them, Harville, Dr. Harville, Professor Harville, I love listening to Herm Edwards. He's inspiring. Also on the Riverbend Liquor and Wine text line from TJ, I could listen to Herm Edwards all day.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, you could. And he is fantastic. Thanks to Mark Bland, football communications at Arizona State, for helping out. I contacted him, and I don't have the timeline in front of me. It's been since probably about the time we started this show. I reached out to him, and then I remember what he said to me. He said, I have the longest list you could ever imagine of people who want Herm Edwards as a segment, and I could understand that. So I said, okay. He goes, get back with me sometime towards the end of August. And so, of course, about that time, the Pac-12 shut down. And I said, let me know if the shutdown makes it even more difficult for us to have Coach Edwards. And he emailed me back almost immediately. He also said to me that Herm Edwards, he's been in the business for a long, long time, Mark Bland at Arizona State, is the best coach I've ever worked with, and that's not a surprise either.
No, it's not. And, having said that, I was initially very unsure about how he would do at the collegiate level. Then you hear him and you realize, like, oh, yeah, he must be a tremendous recruiter. He's obviously got a very good young quarterback in Jaden Daniels, and they have pushed out some good receivers here as of late. Benjamin was a fantastic back out of Texas for them as well. So they've got talent, and I'll tell you, I'm not saying I'm rooting for Arizona State by any means or anything, but I want to see him have success with that program, and to see them, kind of every year they've upped it up. They've been in bowl games the last 2 years of the 3 that he's been there. They won it. They won their bowl game last year. So he's got something cooking. It's not just, a name there as head coach. It's a really good head coach there as head coach who's got a lot of experience and obviously a tremendous perspective on life. So all the best to Herm Edwards. Hopefully they get to play soon. And maybe he broke a little bit of news with us, although I don't know what the reporting's been like today, but I guess he's getting ready to go meet with some Pac-12 people, and they're going to try to, see if they can't get this thing off the ground a little bit. But sure is a lot of smoke around the Big Ten and the Pac-12 these last few days.
I kind of expected that to happen a little bit, seeing as, the ACC and Big 12 are both kicking off this weekend, and, the Big Ten and all these other things, they
got FOMO.
They can say, like, when Central Arkansas plays or BYU and Navy, they can lay out of that. But then when they've got kids in the weight room, like Ryan Day said, that says, well, I mean, Notre Dame's playing, why can't we play? Mm-hmm. That's just, and that's a hard thing for the coach to say, is like, either he has one of two answers. One, their conferences don't care about their players as much as we care about you, which is a really tough sell given the fact that, that's not true. That would not be true at all. Or two, I just don't know. And that's what he has to say. I just don't know. The science can't be different. It's the same thing.
Pretty much. I mean, different in different parts of the country, but not to the extent to which they went to the extreme of canceling their seasons weeks ahead of time.
I do get the Pac-12, given the fact that California is the lion's share of that league, and what a gigantic hotspot it's been and will continue to be, that they don't know how they can do it. I get that. And even still, I think that they've probably overshot what they're trying to do. But even still, the Big Ten has an even bigger problem because, again, they're not even close to that part of the country.
No. All right, coming up next, Sam Bradshaw. I would have had him on with us, with Craig and Paul and me, and David Smoke. We would have discussed even more about Louisiana Tech. Well, now that's poofed. That's gone. Still nothing from Baylor or any game for next week. That still seems to be really, as every hour goes by, a very, very much uncertain and most likely done. But sometimes a call or something happens, and the next thing you know, there might be something that pops. But right now it looks to be very much not going to happen. I hope I'm wrong. This is Sikkim 365 Radio.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. They've got the summer savings event going on right now. I take that back. They just wrapped up the summer savings event because now even more deals coming your way. It's the kickoff savings event. Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. They are the people you can count on, of course. You've heard me say that time and time again, but I say it so often because it's true. They disinfect their showroom daily. They also make sure they wash their hands. So if you're coming into the dealership, you don't have to worry at all about it not being kept up right or anything along those lines. It is good to go. So the kickoff savings event, what you need to know. All 2020 vehicles on the lot are priced to move now. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. So how about taking a look at the GMC Sierra? Right now, qualified buyers will score huge savings like $8,000 off a 2020 GMC Sierra, or you can save $6,000 on the roomy 3-row 2020 GMC Acadia. They also have the 3-row Buick Enclaves, $8,000 off. The line of Cadillac SUVs like the XT4, XT5, or the 7-passenger Cadillac XT6, thousands off those models as well. You can get yours starting today at only $35,900 at Richard Carr Cadillac. They've also got the Cadillac CT4s, $32,995 starting price. Lots of offers, big selection, great prices, and whenever you buy a vehicle from Richard Carr, you get free oil changes, plus VIP priority warranty service on all vehicles. We stand by to support all our customers with award-winning service. That's what Richard Carr says, and that's what they do because they are the people you can count on, a local family dealer run by Baylor alumni. They just want to earn your business and make sure that every car you buy from now until eternity is from their lot. So stop by their disinfected showroom and see their safety-focused staff, or they can bring the test drive to your home because your comfort and safety remains their first priority. Find them online at richardcarr.com, that's Karr.com, or Highway 6 at the Imperial exit.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recall drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com. Principal office located in Houston, Texas.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with Sam Bradshaw of Sikkim365.com.
Glenn Lott at Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue on 35 and also 190 in Killeen is a sponsor of our show and also is weekly someone where I go and get product and take it to a high school program as we get ready for the next week of games broadcast. I've done that with schools throughout Central Texas, thanks to Glenn Lott and also Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue. But there's a barbecue fundraiser. Buzz Weaver, IOU Girls, Buzz Barbecue Bash fundraiser. Enter a barbecue team cook-off. Entry fees are like $100 for a one-meat team, $150 for three-meat entry fee, There's all of that. It's Buzz Fast Pitch Softball, Saturday, October 17th. $10 at the door to enter from 3 until 8 that day. October 17th, that's a Saturday. The Riso Lions Club is involved, and barbecue and beer and live band and a cornhole tournament. If you're interested, contact Glenn, and you can actually contact me on Twitter or email Smokey, HSFB, it's short for high school football, at gmail.com, and I'll give you some more information. But you can contact him at Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue in Waco on I-35. It's October 17th. It's a huge deal, fundraiser. Let's help him out. Now, we're now joined by Sam Bradshaw, Sikkim365.com. And Sam, we're going to break down La Tech and all that. Well, now we don't know. Maybe it's not going to be until Kansas. Your thoughts about what the matchup would have been like, of what Baylor would probably been able to do, or what they were hoping to do if they had played La Tech?
Well, first and foremost, thanks for having me on. And it was looking to be a pretty interesting matchup because, especially for a team outside the power conferences, Louisiana Tech's had a history of having a little more talent than that usually implies, particularly on the defensive side. And while I certainly had a whole lot of turnover, they had transfers from Texas, from Virginia Tech, from a couple other places on defense that were going to come in and make a big impact for them. And then their offense was returning basically all their receivers, 3/5 of their line, I think. And they got Abilene Christian's quarterback, who played pretty well against Baylor a couple of years back. So it would have been a good matchup, good way to get your feet wet before conference. But that's gone now, and hopefully they can get something scheduled for next week or one of the other bye weeks that we have, and we can get another game this fall.
So do you start working on Kansas now? Have you done that yet?
For most of the Big 12 schools, I at least have an idea of what I'm going to do before the season starts. But I will definitely be paying attention to that Kansas game this weekend if it goes on, and really try and see what changes they've made. Because I do think Les Miles has got something good going there, and I'll have a little more to speak on that next week.
Sam, I know that depth charts are very fluid, and Baylor's, I mean, you could probably rip it up and throw it away now with the next game uncertain, but it did give us kind of a base idea. And coaches, deal with depth charts differently, but what, if anything, stood out to you from maybe what you saw released earlier this week?
Well, I think it's a very good thing that Ashton Logan took over the starting jack position. Not because I thought Baylor was in any issue there. It's more that we all knew that William Bradley King is a guy they really wanted to come in as a grad transfer and play that position. And for Logan to beat them out for that position, that means you've got two guys that give Aranda and Roberts a lot of flexibility that can play that position for them. So if they want to put both of them on the field at the same time, they can. One of them will be big enough to potentially slide inside to a 4-eye technique if they absolutely had to. They can drop both of them into coverage and blitz the inside backers. All the versatility that Aranda became really well known for at Wisconsin with guys like Joe Schobert and Vince Beagle as outside backers, these guys give you the ability to do that. So that was one thing that stood out. Other than that, you've got a lot of depth everywhere. I mean, you lose your center. Jason Moore is a guy that started before and is an experienced upperclassman. He slides in. You have a very athletic guy that started at tackle last year in Blake Bettier. He slides inside the guard to make room for Burton. You've got a number of different guys. I mean, Cole Maxwell stepping up at defensive end. You've got so many that fit what they want to do that I do think you're in a good spot, but it's going to take some time for them to gel just because it's a new scheme. There wasn't a spring ball. And obviously they've had guys in and out of the lineup during fall camp.
Yeah, Cole Maxwell is somebody that just never, it was always hurt. It's always something, or I didn't even think one time he wasn't even around. But the Burton story, you may have heard this. Dave Aranda said this to me on Monday, that he said it again in his media presser on Monday, that Burton was at a practice. He had just arrived, and they were doing something, offensive line calls, and he's the one that barked out the calls. He had been there for maybe a cup of coffee, and it blew everybody away, and it also was something that Dave Aranda and the coaches noticed as well. How much in the end will his transfer perhaps mean, even more so than William Bradley King or Dylan Doyle or anyone else?
Well, I don't want to rank the transfers, but anytime you can get somebody that can play offensive tackle at a high level, that's your high overhead position on the offensive line in terms of athleticism. That's the guy that most often has to move in space and pass protection. That's the guy that has to shut down the elite edge rushers. And getting him to pair with Galvin is huge. And the fact that he's already on top of the calls, he knows how to communicate on the line, he understands what issues they might face, it's huge. Because offensive line, more so than any group on the field, it has to work as a unit. And to have somebody already on the same page so quickly after arriving, and to have somebody with that much upside be the person, it's incredible. And I think it's going to work out really well for the offense.
Sam, isn't the biggest thing with the offensive line, it's you need to know not only how the 5 guys who start are going to play, but like the next 3 guys have to seamlessly fit into that chemistry.
Exactly. And all it takes is one guy doing the wrong assignment. I remember in the SMU game this past weekend, on one of those plays, Shane Buechele got absolutely leveled. And they just had a simple slide protection, but one guy got the wrong call. So everybody slid left, one guy slid right, and somebody got a clean run at Shane. So and that was an experienced line coming back, you know. So you definitely want to get some reps in there, and you want them to gel, because all it takes is one guy doing the wrong job, and all of a sudden your quarterback's running.
Sam, I know we've probably discussed this before, so I apologize. We're kind of rehashing a little bit. But with this defensive line group, I know there's not a lot of experience. There's some, don't get me wrong, but it's not the experience they had. I know we kind of talked about this a little bit last week, but are you confident in the defensive line being able to hold up, their end of the bargain defensively, or do you think that's going to be an area, at least early on, we see maybe struggling a bit more?
Well, I don't think they're going to light up the stat sheet just based on scheme. In this scheme, particularly when they go to the tight front, that front 3 is not going to be your stat-grabbing headlines that you're going to be looking for, whereas if you were in like a 4-3 one-gap scheme, that 3 technique is getting all kinds of stats on the interior. But as far as what they're being asked to do in terms of clogging up running lane and in terms of giving some pass rush, even if you're not necessarily getting to the sack, and working within the system, I think they're going to be fine on that front. I mean, you got TJ Franklin, Gabe Hall, Cheedy, Landry, Maxwell. You've got a number of guys that fit very much in the mold of what he had at Wisconsin, Utah State, and LSU. And obviously LSU had a couple guys that really had some huge upside, like the 340-pound kid they had this past year. But they also had a lot of guys that may not have been in that first-round conversation, but were just really good fits. And I think the front 3 is going to be able to do that. I think they're really good at the jack position. And I really think the biggest issue this defense is going to have is going to be inexperience and the coaches adjusting potentially to the wide open Big 12. Because, I mean, you see some spread offenses in the Big 10 and the SEC, but you don't see it as frequently or as varied. And I do think there's going to be some adjustment to that. And I know that's something Phil Snow had to adjust to. And Phil Snow's been quite a few places.
Yeah, he has. And, yeah, you're right. It did take him a little while to adjust. One position group we have not heard a lot about, but there's some young players there. I was very curious about how will tight ends be used in this offense, you think?
Well, historically, Fedora has been just basing out of 3 receivers and a tight end. So I think it's going to be a very big part of the offense. I don't think it's going to take a backseat. And I think you've got a number of guys in there. You not only return Christoph Henley, who's been the more blocking-oriented starter for the last couple of years, but the guy at the top of the depth chart right now is Ben Sims. You got Tyler Henderson. You got Drake Dabney, the freshman that apparently is making some waves in camp. You got Logan Maxwell. You've got so many guys that offer a little more athleticism and can be that receiving threat from the position, because Fedora, at a couple of different years when he was at North Carolina and Southern Miss, he'd take a big receiver and put him at that tight end position rather than put a more blocking oriented guy in there. So I do think it'll be a key part of what he's trying to do. gives him a little bit of versatility in protection, gives him a little bit of versatility in the kind of formations and blocking schemes he can do in the run game. And I'll be very surprised if it's not at least making a significant impact this fall.
Sam, as always, thank you very much for breaking it down. Hopefully, I don't think we will, but if there's a possibility of an opponent next week, we'll discuss it Thursday. If not, we'll focus in more on Kansas. Thanks for your time, as always, and all your insight and breaking it down.
Thanks for having me on.
Sam Bradshaw, Sikkim365.com with us on Sikkim 365 Radio. When we come back, high school football, Fuddruckers Pick'em. Who's in the lead? Who's close? All that. What happened to last week's leader? Next on Sikkim 365 Radio.
The First National Bank of Central Texas, 5 locations right here at home. Waco, Woodway, Hewitt, China Spring, Mart, Hillsboro. Familiar faces making local decisions, here to help you, your family, and your business. Whether it's great times or tough times, all of us need a bank we can count on. Great people with great technology dedicated to their customers and helping our area grow. Safe banking in person or use their online and mobile apps. Convenient drive-through and ATMs at all locations. And something that's come in handy for me today is the Secure Lock Equip, where I got a text message. Had a pretty big charge go out. I know it's something that needs to get reimbursed, but I saw it happen when it happened, so I knew how much it was. And they've also got first free checking, and when they say free, they mean free, no minimum monthly balance, no monthly service charge, unlimited check writing, and unlimited debit card purchases. The First National Bank of Central Texas, 5 locations right here at home to serve you.
What season is it? It's truck season at Allen Samuels. Ram trucks are raring to go, ready to work and play, and all feature the best deals of the year during Ram Power Days. Come get your brand new Ram Lone Star at Allen Samuels with 0% for 72 and no payments for 90 days. Or choose up to $9,250 in bonus cash and incentives. Ram, the highest pickup owner loyalty in America. Shop, apply, buy online. We deliver. Ram Power Days at Allen Samuels.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and 2-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
And
Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com. Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at goarmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Sikkim 365 Radio's coverage of Texas high school football is sponsored by Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, protecting Texans for over 50 years. J.D. Power, highest customer satisfaction among auto insurers in Texas, 9 years in a row.
All right, here we go. Brian, Grayson, Deontay, and Dylan have already filled out all of their picks. And I've already pretty much filled out most of mine as well. So here we go. Fuddruckers pick 'em. I have right now a one-game lead. No, Paul, you and I are tied, 31-9.
Okay.
We're tied at 31-9. Craig is a game back. Dylan's a game back. Brian's a game back. And then Grayson's a couple back. And then Deontay right now coming up from the behind.
I'll enjoy my lofty perch while it temporarily lasts.
All right, here we go.
I actually think I'm a couple back, right? With that call I made to you last night.
Yeah, you did, Craig.
Don't call me a cheater. No. I noticed on the pick'ems that there was a game not marked out that I lost, and I.
Which one was that, Mejia?
Yeah, Mejia. So I got that corrected live on radio, even though I made that call to him last night. So yeah, I'm actually a couple back.
All right. Argyle at Salina, Paul, Craig, then me, and then we'll kind of go as we always do.
Okay, I'll go with Argyle.
Paul, Craig?
Argyle.
They might be the best team in the state. We'll find out eventually when they most likely meet La Vega, right? And they have played several times before. I'll take Argyle. Craig, Cal Allen, and La Vega.
Whew. Man, with our Rawls hurt, this one is a little bit dicey, but I'm going to still go La Vega.
Yeah, I am too. The game's in San Marcos. They'll figure it out with their defense. Cal Allen is another 5'8" team that's dropped a notch. But I'll take La Vega. Paul?
I'll take La Vega. I think they're going to probably mix it up at that quarterback position, which will make it confusing for Cal Allen.
China Spring at Brownwood. China Spring's been explosive. Brownwood was hammered by Lampassan, beat Greenwood out of Midland. I'm going to take the home team here in Brownwood. It's against what I think, but I'm going to take Brownwood. Paul?
I'll take China Spring.
Craig?
I'm going to take China Spring.
All right. Connolly at home against Springtown. Talking to Brian Hewlett, the head coach, they might as well not even show up. He's one of those.
Sandbagging.
Hey, they were a semifinalist team that lost 27-14 to La Vega. They had a lot of guys out. I'm going to take Connolly. Paul?
I'll take Connolly.
Connolly.
Okay. I actually went out of turn. I went back-to-back. Craig. Now, Paul. Stephenville at Salado.
Oh, man. You know what? I've not been right about Salado so far. I'm going to go ahead and pick Salado.
Craig?
Salado.
I'm going to take Stephenville, but scares the hell out of me that Lampasas shut them out 41-0. So there's a couple right there off the top. All right, speaking of Lampasas, Craig, home against Wimberley.
Lampasas.
I'll take Lampasas.
Lampasas.
All right, back to you, Paul, because I went ahead of you the other time. Bernie at Burnett.
I don't know anything about these two teams. I'm just going to go with Burnett.
Burnett. Okay. Craig?
I'll go with Bernie.
I'll go with Bernie. I played against them, lost 7-0 in the pouring down rain.
That still hurts you, doesn't it? I can tell.
Does. Yeah, that was the game in which I missed the team bus leaving the field house.
Oh.
And was driven to Bernie.
I know that we did a China.
I didn't miss it down.
I know that we did a China Spring game there one time where I guess there was a potential freeze on the way home, so Craig didn't come because we didn't want him to get stuck in the potential freeze. And Bernie.
Oh, Bernie.
And
That's
then,
right. That's right.
Yeah, and I had to go down to the in-ear monitors quit on me 5 steps into doing the sideline at the end of the game.
Glen Rose and Fort Stockton. This is mine. I'll take Glen Rose. Paul.
Glen Rose.
Paul Mejia at Navasota.
Navasota.
Craig Troy at Robinson.
Troy.
All right, San Antonio Cornerstone. They lost to Trinity Christian like Addison or whoever, Cedar Hill, whatever. They're really good private school. San Antonio Cornerstone at Wall. I'm going to take San Antonio Cornerstone. Paul?
Yeah, I'll do that. Sure. I've never heard of San Antonio Cornerstone, so I'm going to copy your pick.
What were you saying about them?
They won their first game against somebody pretty good. And then they turned around and played the team that's a private school that's up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that's really loaded. And lost, but I'm taking Cornerstone.
Okay, I'm going to take Wall.
Okay.
Wall, baby.
Wall beat Cisco pretty badly. Craig, I think, who's it turn? Is it? It's
not mine.
It's Paul's turn. Teague at Madisonville.
Teague
at Madisonville. I will, man. I'll go ahead and take Madisonville.
I will too. Craig, Whitney at Rogers.
Whitney.
Groesbeck at Academy. I'll take Academy. Paul, Rockdale at Lexington.
Ooh. It's gonna be is this a game of the week? It's got to be kind of up there. Yeah.
Jared Kerr gives Lexington a chance against everybody.
Yeah, I'll still take Rockdale though.
All right.
I'm gonna go Rockdale.
I will too. Craig, West at Blooming Grove.
West at Blooming Grove. Blooming Grove.
I'll take West. Paul?
West.
All right. My turn. San Saba against the Punchers at Mason, which I normally would always take Mason. I'm going to take San Saba here.
That where Tommy Lee Jones lives in San Saba?
I guess.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. I'll take San Saba.
I'll take Mason.
Paul. Thorndale at Centerville.
Thorndale.
I'm going to go Thorndale.
I'm going to take Centerville. Thorndale's kind of a slight favorite in this game. Yo and Franklin, and I'll take Yo.
Yo.
You said that very emphatically.
I just because Franklin just missed a game.
I'm going Yo. You said that with a lot of confidence.
No,
a little surprise.
That would be a game I'm not so sure if they had not played their regular schedule, but they didn't start practice until Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yo did get run over by Belleville, but
yeah, they did. Belleville must be pretty good.
Hamlin at Albany. Paul.
Albany.
The Pied Pipers of Hamlin.
Yeah.
And Albany. Who did I have here on that one? Hold on, I just dropped it. Sorry. I'm gonna go with Hamlin.
I will go with Hamlin as well. Okay, that's it. Brian Etheridge again.
Can we get 5 and 6A starters for their schools that I know?
Dude, we're gonna have 10 games differences this week.
Yeah, you're spouting out San Antonio Cornerstone, and you could have called that school anything.
I'm going to tell you something. They're pretty good, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
they're
I'll take your word for it.
They're pretty good. Yeah. I can't remember exactly who it was that they lost to, but it was a very good team. And it's a team out of the Dallas area that's just really, really talented. So out of the private school area.
Who did I take in Teague? Madisonville? Or
yes.
Yes, okay. I'm trying to make sure that I got all my ducks in a row.
That's who you did. That's who it was. All right. Thanks to our guests, Herm Edwards, Sam Bradshaw, Max Olson, Mickey Spagnola.
Our football foundation.
Yeah, Britton Banowski as well. Thanks to him as well. And again, FX_Butterfly.
You forgot to thank one person who will.
Jennifer Ann Smoke.